Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome. And super happy to have you here for the LIDOMA PUBG Mobile EMEA Invitational Tournament. We got 4 rounds of action, mayhem, and strategy coming your way today. But first and foremost, for those of you who aren't quite acquainted as to who we are, I am Red Eyes, your ever-lovable and adorably cuddly caster, bringing you that daily dosage of butt kickery, tomfoolery, and all-around shenaniganism. And I'm not alone. I'm joined by my main man, DKZA. Go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
What's up, guys? DK all the way from South Africa. Of course, we're getting ready to, get right into our EU finals. We've got a beautiful lineup of teams getting ready to step out onto that battlefield. And you know what better map to start it on other than heading straight up into the lovely Erangel.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Erangel, the very first map ever brought into this game. And so we can expect a couple things. It's basically the off-bred love child of Sanhok and Miramar, which does mean it is the perfect middle ground between those two extremes, but we got a stacked lineup, DK, so let's go ahead and get over it. We got Qodex, Madbulls, we got Game Lord, Cave, Brute Force, Back S eSports, KONINA Power, Major Pride, Shockwave, Doom, Nexus Gaming, De Muerte, Hate Gaming, the Sirens, NavySeals, Virtuspro, Dagestan, and GQ Team. So I'm expecting action right off the bat. And as I was saying, DK, we are starting things off, of course, with it's going to be an Erangel, the off-bred love child of Sanhok and Miramar, which is going to leave it fairly reliant upon the flight path to determine just what sort of early game we actually end up getting. And so with that being said, I don't want to waste too much time. Let's see what sort of flight path we are working with. And guys, just so everyone is aware, this is a $700 prize pool. We got 18 teams competing today, but only 6 will advance off to the finals to face off against Turkey and MENA. But here we have it, guys. No time to waste. Kicking things off, Erangel, match 1 of 4. Let's get it. What kind of map are we going to be working with? Ooh, almost a perfectly central flight path. Absolutely ideal for the participants. Going to leave them with an abundance of options to choose from, DK.
Yeah, I think the teams couldn't have asked for a better flight path that is going to be allowing them to get into some really good positioning across the board. But again, it's all going to come down to how the teams are going to be utilizing the space. And I think the kicker is going to be where that first initial zone is going to be forming, right? If it's going to be complementary to the flight path, I think the teams are going to be smiling all the way through the start of this game.
Yeah, and already we can see a lot of early jumpers. Just over to the Taverny area, we can see members of Hate Gaming jumping alongside the likes of Shockwave, as well as De Muerte, and we might even get some early confrontation there, DK. I'm going to go ahead and just start things off by having this at least going on in the background while we just check out the map. Everyone is just going to be, at this point, just trying to get looted up and, you know, get a little bit better equipped to handle their fights. But as we know is the case with PUBG Mobile, time is of the essence, and you might not always get that chance to get the gun you're looking for. Ooh, we can also see over at school, we got members of Major Pride as well as Dagestan potentially preparing to face off there as well. Shifu already equipped readily with the AK-47, holding position, no armor yet. But look at that beautiful knock there. Nice spray, good control. However, one of his teammates is taken out as well, so revenge served cold and fast there.
Yeah, I mean, we've got altercations up in school. We've got some up in Rozok. We've got one bound to break out close to that prison position as well. And then, of course, as we saw up in Saverny. But for the time being, it's going to be right here, right? Held up into a school, looking to see who can defend the area. And I mean, so far it's looking pretty great, especially for the players here from Dagestan. Yes, they have already gotten a knock in on one of their players, but they still have a bit of a controlling position to try and utilize moving forward.
Yeah, and honestly, it is seemed to be a bit of a trade-off here, but as you can see, Shifu is going to be able to stick the revive on his fallen teammate, which is going to leave it on Zadira and Limba to be in charge of Overwatch and cover fire.
Yeah, the Overwatch cover fire is definitely going to be, definitely will have to be rather on point. As we know, the players coming through from Major Pride, situated just a little bit more towards that northern edge. As you can see, still up in Rozok, things also looking pretty interesting as we do have the Madbulls now starting to go to town, finding quite a few hits along the way. But what is quite interesting to see is that the players there from Bax eSports, they've already had quite a bit of a dip being dealt to their numbers. They are only now relying on reflex.
Yeah, Reflex now is the last and final hope for the team, and you definitely don't want to be dwindled down to your final person this early into match 1 of 4. You don't want to start off at that sort of deficit. So at this point, the name of the game for him should be survival and placement. Just trying to secure some placement for his team, even if he's not able to do much in terms of being kill intensive. You know, at least keeping his team in the running is the name of the game for him at this point. Ooh, Mono firing away 4x UMP in hand. Guys, this is Major Pride, Poino, pardon me. And he was just firing away with that UMP, but taking way more damage than he's able to dish out there.
Yeah, but we did have a few nerfs coming through into a few of the weapons as well. So I'm curious to see how that dynamic is going to work out for these teams, but still quite a bit of pressure coming through in towards that Rozhok school area. As we look up onto Saverni, it is going to be the players from the Muerte now rushing straight on in, looking to bring in a bit of a contention here. And this is where the players from Hate Gaming have to try and find this angle, right? Of course, Michi is down. It now turns to Mozaro, the final contender, left to defend the honor up in Saverni, but they're not alone. There's 3 teams here.
Yeah, and honestly, this could be his blessing. If Shockwave engages with the likes of Hate Gaming, it could be that opportunity for him to get on out of there, dip out of dodge. But, ooh, Trazen taken down right before our eyes, leaving it in the hands of Minus, Azer, and Snowix. Snowix jumping down, shot down midair. Minus and Azer remain.
Well, this is where things get quite interesting. I mean, this is a very, very hairy fight so far. Azer on a little bit of that Overwatch could find a bit of a potential play, but as we can see, Furia, Discrim now getting ready to double down. They want to move on in, but Azer's just going to be keeping that Overwatch position. Mazzaro, meanwhile, will have the opportunity to get themselves a little, well, better situated, right? They have that opportunity to decide, do they want to take part in this altercation? Ooh, they're just going to look on. As you can see, De Muerte now coming through with a beautiful, beautiful play right there.
Yeah, De Muerte living up to their name, showing them the face of death. Easy claps right there. And look, the final member for Hate Gaming doing exactly what he should in this situation and just trying for his life to get out of there and get some placement points for his team. Gonna switch my attention right on back down to Dagestan here. As I do, Shifu MVP is wrecked apart, and it looks like they're out of there. Oh my goodness, just in a brief matter of moments, reduced down to nothingness. All right, no time to waste as Madbulls, I believe, yes, this is Madbulls, not too far away from their opposition below them, Bach S eSports, but where, yes, it's going to be Frozen, who's up close to the confrontation as he approaches with that AK-47 Uzi combo, and it looks like he is just trying to get some proper loot. He has nothing in terms of first aids or med kits here.
Yeah, but I mean, we got Reflect also now just lying in wait. As you can see, not too far away from that. So, Madbulls, it does seem like they are going to be skipping over a bit of an opportunity there, but I guess it's fine, right? I mean, that does allow a little bit more continuation coming through now for Reflex and the rest of the Bax eSports team. But as we jump a little bit further on forward, the NavySeals now also looking to get the job done as they are going at it right here up in towards prison. They are going to be pushed upon, right? It's not the easiest angle, but fortunately for them, the GQ team only has 1 player situated there.
Yeah, no time to waste, though. As much as I want to keep an eye on that, we've got Major Pride at this point now reduced down to Monkey, and Monkey alone. We are having so many teams just being dwindled down this early on in the game. And just as I say it, NavySeals, I believe that might have been one of... Yep, NavySeals getting another one on the board. Yes, they are. And however, it did not come without a price. It looks like Attacker was knocked, but here we have Access Soon pushing in at the ready. UMP in hand and just pre-fired right away, but taken down in retaliation. Revenge is served cold and fast, leaving things relying on Palau and Matrix. Matrix taking quite a heavy hit there and reduced down to 1/3 of his overall health. Going to try to smoke himself and shroud himself in some natural cover here, maybe a little bit of utility smoke as well.
Yeah, but the important part here is now they need to kind of just keep that that steady flow of players coming through from the side of GQ rather at bay, as you know, that could definitely hamper the approaches. But it does seem like they are pretty confident on the positioning here. They've got a good defensive play to try and uphold. Oh, look at those sprays coming in, but now it needs to follow through as the knock is locked in.
Well, now that's going to leave it all on Attacker and Pilot, and Attacker not looking in great shape here. As I said earlier, he's about 1/3 of his overall health, nothing in terms of first aids, just stuck in between a rock and a hard place, all too literally here in this position here. This is where it's going to really rely on Palau to be in charge of Overwatch here, trying to cover his teammate from the distance position, but it's going to be a tough one because at this stage, Attacker is outnumbered.
Yeah. And of course, they are getting encircled as well, but might as well trying to, patch up that health bar as best you can. Up comes the push, and that is going to be GQ finding a good amount of aggression. Filial now is going to be the final contender. You can already see the shots heading up in their direction. Full on Sen coming through as GQ. They want that elimination. They get that elimination, and now they're riding on an absolute high.
Yeah, and there is just no real options there for them. No time to do much. Outnumbered, outmanned, and outgunned in that situation. Well, look at this, guys. We got Madbulls now up to 5 kills and still a full 4-person team here, and looking pretty strong as they are going to be able to stick that revive and be brought back once again to a full 4-person team. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take note of this zone. Look at how much water is occupying it, and that might not look significant at first sight, but look at just how significant of a portion. I'm going to say 30%, maybe even 40% of the zone occupied by water. It's absolutely going to limit our participants' options in terms of where they can claim and getting that early real estate, DK.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be absolutely essential, but it is also going to result in quite a few exciting altercations as the teams continue now to move all about. As we take a quick look over at Game Lord, we can see them, of course, just rotating up on that very side edge. Of course, following suit with the players here from Virtuspro. And now it's going to be the opportunity for all of the altercations. The shots already start to fly.
Boy, that 3x on a Glacier M4 doing some heavy work as he takes Viper and his buddy down, but taken down in retaliation, leaving things riding on Victor and Peck. Victor, a little bit further away. Peck, a little bit close. Pecco, I should call him. Getting a little bit closer to the action here, trying to get a nice little angle, and I love what he's doing, using what geographical cover he can. Not going to give him too much, just a sliver of his head here, just a peek. Well, Victor...
I mean, that's sometimes all you need.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. All right, Victor is going to get this opportunity to get that first aid off. However, his teammate, Valo, still knocked in this position, not looking like to be revived from his position. And, here we go! Victor being pursued at the hands of Virtuspro, firing away with that MG3, but all for naught as he is taken down instead, leaving Pico to try to carry the name on for his team and get those placement points as well.
But there's a great opportunity now for Pico, right? They can try to bring in a little bit more of that southern rotation, potentially maybe even sneak right around the team there from Virtuspro. So the opportunities are quite plentiful at this point. Even the nice bit of a range opportunity coming through, as you can see that scoping incoming and waiting for the perfect timing. Oh, will they get it? Are they going to take the hit underneath the vehicle? Not quite sure. Just patience. Yeah, it's going to be the absolute virtue here.
Oh my goodness, what a beautiful shot. Unfortunately, just a few moments too late. Honestly, if he had started shooting maybe 2 to 3 seconds earlier, he would have probably had enough time to get that second and third bullet for the knock. His placement was just perfect there, but just a little too late. Oh, but look what we have going on down here. Down towards the military island, we see members of Team 16. This is going to be the Sirens, just trying to figure out a way to get out of here. You can see their bridgeway is blocked, and it's going to be blocked by the likes of De Muerte. Oh, pardon me, I withdraw that previous statement. It's going to be blocked by the likes of Qodex. That is a little bit of color blindness on my end, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies there. Qodex, as you can see here, still looking fairly strong. Still a full 4-person team. No kills to their name yet, but they got time. A lot of teams, when there's cash on the line, and boy, oh boy, there is definitely cash on the line here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll kind of play the slow game, the marathon, not a sprint tactic, where you try to at least make sure you secure your placement points before you go out on the all-out aggressive. And maybe that is what Qodex has in mind here. But as we can see, Yatim holding position, just trying to overwatch for his team, going to use this opportunity to fall back while he can. I'm going to switch over to Game Lord. It looks like they might be getting into some action here. Oh, maybe not. I withdraw that. It looked to be Game Lord, but it might have been Virtuspro. Oh, okay, Virtuspro got him. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, that's the end of the road for Game Lord. But in the meantime, I mean, Sirens, they could very well be the Muerte for Qodex, right? That could be a bit of an opportunity to come through on that. But in the meanwhile, teams are going to be converging straight into with that center zone. And this is the kind of fight up that we want to see. We've got Doran, Octavia, and the rest of the squad coming through from the side there of Nexus Gaming. You can see taking up a very centralized position. But they are going to be challenged as the GQ team then also comes pushing in on the eastern side. KONINA Power, though, I like that position that they've got held up in towards Malta.
Yeah, you know what? We're going to go have a quick look-see at the likes of KONINA Power. Still, 0 kills on the board here, but as I said, a full 4-person team. And so, yes, they do have time, and they're not necessarily alone here. They're currently pinched in between the likes of Qodex and Cave. Cave eSports hasn't had a lot of screen time yet today, but that is just purely coincidence as we haven't seen him in the action just yet. Don't think that we don't see him in the chat rooting for him. And Cave, speaking of which, entering this match as a 3-piece, already coming in at a immediate disadvantage. Oh, there you see it, Virtuspro going at it in the distance. Let's just get a quick eye just to make sure they're not still in the thick of it here. Yeah, with Panda down, it's going to be riding on Polar, Grizzly, and Bear. I see. We're all bear related. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. But are they going to be able to bear with all the aggression that's going to be descending down upon them? As we can see, a nice bit of spray coming through. Love this position, just utilizing the living heck out of that rock. As we can see, Grizzly now not backing out of the fight, but they have to keep the aggression up, right? Brute Force going to be looking to bring in quite a bit of it, as we can see that push coming in, but all the pressure, right on Grizzly.
Oh, and just as I tried to switch to Polar, he is out of there, and those bears are going to be hibernating for a while. The dad jokes are in full effect today, ladies and gentlemen. Back down over to the GQ team. Oh, it looks like Korka has been down, so it looks like he's going to be revived. All the while, we got Evo Station and his teammate Quasi here just holding position over the likes of Nexus Gaming. Nexus is a little bit spread out here. It looks to be a 2-1 split or maybe even a 2-2 split. Oh, it's a 2-1-1. Now, that can come with obvious advantages and obvious disadvantages. The advantage is that you're not all going to be taken out in the same spray, but the disadvantage is obvious there. If you are attacked, the odds of your teammates being able to assist you there become a little bit more difficult.
Yep, and it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge, especially that we've got such a concentration of teams now situated on towards the southern edge. I like the fact that Brute Force now attempting a bit of a rotation. Yes, they have lost a player, but we do have Mind taking that plunge, looking to get themselves set up a little bit more centralized. But this also now opens up opportunity for the Madbulls to come circling around and Mind rather making some very bold moves right here.
Yeah, and honestly, if your name is Brute Force, you just expect him to play aggressive. And boy, what an aggressive push that was. Risky as all get out. And as you can see, it didn't pan out in their favor, but that is the case of PUBG time and time again. Getting eyes on Cave now. Still, as we said, a full 3-piece. They only entered as a 3-piece, so they came in at an immediate disadvantage. And we saw Influence almost be taken out there, being brought down to about 1/5 or even less of his overall health. Currently, they're sandwiched in between the likes of Brute Force and Hate Gaming. Oh.
Yeah,
yes.
well.
Sorry about that. Madbulls, apparently.
Sandwich.
Yeah. Talika with that Scar L. Love that PMPL Scar L, but firing away with responsible for 3 of the team's 8 kills. Let's give Madbulls a little bit of credit here. Talika now responsible for half of the team's kills. Gonna throw a utility, gonna try to get a little bit of Hellfire rain down on Lisa, doing some significant damage, but not quite enough to finish the job. Will this one do it? Not quite even hitting. Ellie gonna try to retaliate with a little bit of Hellfire of her own. Preparing it. Oh, thinking a little better of it. And there's the nade to finish the job. Beautifully thrown by Talika.
Yep, that's going to be Lisa in a little bit of trouble. But as we can see now, it is the Madbulls trying to find the next approach, the next opportunity. But Yatem out in the open. Quick reactions coming through. You see that knock just absolutely nearly instantly hitting up. And this is the opportunity that Madbulls have been waiting for. Looking to get that make sure the coast is clear before they start moving forward.
Yeah, those bulls started seeing red, my friend, and boy, oh boy, did it ever pay out. Oh, looks like Nexus might be going at it off in the distance. Let's get a brief glance here, and yes, that'll be Nexus's first kill. And keep in mind, they're still a full 4-person team. And ladies and gentlemen, you cannot place enough emphasis on being a full team come in-game. We're going to switch right on back up to Qodex. It looks like Qodex is going to be riding on Monkey and Monkey alone. Monkeykin, pardon me. And he's going to try to just shroud himself in a cloud of smoke. That's really all he can do to prepare for the inevitable push from Nexus.
Yeah, but Nexus now coming in full force. We can see now just sitting down on this compound. MENA Power, fortunately, providing a little bit of a buffer there, so that will allow even more situation going through now for Moneycan, and up comes a beautiful opportunity. As you can see, that third-party play now just working out so phenomenally. The team whether or not Moneycan is going to be able to clutch this one out. Does secure yet another knock, but Goat goes down in the process. One player still up for the side here of Nexus, and this is Moneycan's golden opportunity.
I gotta agree with, Monkeykin here. That was a very risky move to go out and try to secure those thirsts, but given that they've already got this placement, those kills could be so intensive here, and I think he might have made the right move by going to get him, especially considering where the dead zone is coming in from. I think he had a fairly, not a safe bet, but good odds that he wasn't going to be thirst from that angle. I think either way you look at it, it was a risky play, but I still play in favor of his odds there, and it just so happened to pan out, taking him up to 3 kills and carrying on the name for Qodex.
Yeah, I mean, Moneycan definitely not a player to discount at this point, and they're not out of the woods just yet. Still have a few unwanted visitors hanging around here, but regardless of the opposition they're facing, they still need to try and find a way to get themselves resituated back in towards the zone. Fortunately, it hasn't moved all too far away, but it is going to provide just an extra bit of a challenge moving up in towards this next phase. Yeah,
100%. Look at it. Speaking of next phase, we got Cave Esports literally being one of the only teams to already claim that early real estate in New Zone. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, this new zone has very little compound cover to afford to its participants. Monkeykin with the drop shot to finish the job, barely surviving by the hair on his chin, and responsible now for all 4 of the team's kills, giving him placement and kills here for round 1. We'll talk about the savior. That's a heavy backpack, DK.
That was on the money right there. As a beautiful play coming through from there. But of course, we have to move on. It is going to be Cave now with a very centralized position here, looking to just capitalize. And in fact, it seems to be almost the only team for the time being situated in this phase. But the pressures come in. Cave finding the sprays up in towards Evo Station as they can take it on down. But several more victims will come rolling on in. Even Madbulls quite cautious all the way over on that eastern side with Moneycan now coming under fire. Here we go as we look down on towards Korka. There's a great opportunity to just sneak up onto the Madbulls.
Yeah, Korka really does have a little breath of fresh air here, a little slack in the rope. The option of getting Madbulls caught off guard from behind, but in doing so would very likely give up his location to those remaining in brute force as well as in cave. And so I don't blame him for not engaging there. I think it was the right move. I think it was just kind of weighing your options. Yeah, you might have gotten a kill or two, but the placement would be over at that point more than likely, in my opinion. So I think given his move, I think that was a lot of good showmanship in patience there and self-restraint. Well,
yep.
We're down to 5 teams here, DK. It's a 3v3v1v1v1. Cave, Madbulls, PF, GQ, and Qodex.
Yep. I mean, it might not be a lot of players, but we did just see Mind in the feet taking down Korka. Down goes Mind as Moneycan comes in with a beautiful third-party capitalization. So with that, the numbers are really starting to dwindle. We still have the players there from Cave holding on to their 3-piece. Madbulls also sitting on a 3-piece, but they've got this entire northern position, and they are going to be looking to get themselves a little bit closer. But the danger here is that open field we see just up ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I see you guys in the chat. If you aren't aware of DK, the dad jokes will be in full swing all day, baby. We pay him quite a bit extra just per dad joke. He charges per the dad joke, but ladies and gentlemen, I mean, it is worth it. So worth it. Well, here we have it, guys. It's going to be a 3v3v1. If you're Monkeykin, the name of the game right now should be just laying low and letting these 2 teams duke it out and seeing if somehow you can get blessed into that second place spot. Talika taking a bit of attention as he tries to pull a wide flank rotation from the northbound end, but driving by his teammate and closer to the only remaining member of Qodex, actually almost lining up perfectly for a line of sight from both Qodex and Cave. So I don't know how I feel about that placement. Yes, I do. I don't feel good about it.
Well, I mean, there's still a little bit of a ways to go, as we can see. Of course, the Madbulls now just limbering themselves up, getting ready for a little bit of an altercation here. Zarek, I like this position. A nice bit of a information gathering play coming through. But Zarek now knows what's at stake. They are the final remaining hopeful for this team. They need to try and play this one next to perfect. And I think a well-placed nade, a well-timed nade even, could deal quite a bit of a tip into the side of Cave. Oh, look at that!
Oh, he gets one, he gets influenced, but look at his health, brother. He is brought down solo, and the deed is done. And everything is all riding on Qodex's Monkey Kin. And boy, what a performance on his end, putting up 5 kills for his team and getting him all the way up to 2nd place, riding up to a team that outnumbers him in a smoking vehicle. All judgment is out the window here, and it's going to be the nade to finish the job as Hellfire rains down on him, and Cave eSports, as a 3-piece, seals that gold medal 1st place finish with 6 kills. Wow.
I mean, what a run, right? I mean, Dimension really just getting out there, making things happen, locking in those 4 eliminations. So an absolutely glorious run coming through from Cave, but we also got to commend Moneyken, right? 5 eliminations, all the eliminations coming through for the side of Qodex, as well as securing themselves that 2nd place finish.
Yeah, my apologies, guys. I thought I said Monkeykin. My apologies. Moneykin, yeah, great performance on his end. That is a huge, heavy backpack for him as they acquire 2nd place with 5 kills, all of those kills going to money. We got Madbulls securing 3rd place, but doing so with an extremely healthy 13 kills, 8 of which are from Tulika. Coming in 4th, it's going to be the crew in Brute Force, and that's going to be with 10 kills even. Nicely done. We got GQ here securing 5th place, and that's going to be with 5. Hate Gaming in 6th, but with 0 kills to speak of. Coming in 7th, it's going to be the boys and girls in Nexus with 3 kills. KONINA Power, 8th place with 3 kills, all of which came from Fache. We got members of, pardon me, the Sirens here in 9th place. Keep wanting to say Siren. The Sirens in 9th place with 1 kill from Ellie. We got Virtuspro securing 10th place with 5 kills between Panda and Grizzly. GLD, ladies and gentlemen, that's Game Lord here, coming in 11th, but with 0 kills to their name. X eSports in 12th with 0 as well. In 13th, we're going to give it to Major Pride, and that's going to be with 4 kills between Monkey and Dino. NAS grabbing 14th, and of course NAS is the NavySeals with 4 kills between Pailao and Access Soon. De Muerte grabbing 15th this time around with 5 kills, 3 of those 5 going to Furia. Doom in 16th, but with no kills to speak of. We got DG that's Dagestan grabbing 17th place with 2 kills between Limbo and Shifu. And last place, 18th, is going to go to the likes of Shockwave, and that's with 2 kills, 1 from Wazer and 1 from Snowix. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's just round 1 of 5, and we've seen our participants now in the very first map ever of Erangel. But I am so excited, DK, to see what happens when we take things to that wide open desert. I am, of course, speaking about Miramar as we return in just a few short minutes for round 2 of 4 of the PUBG Mobile LIDOMA Invitational EMEA event. Stick around, guys. We'll be back soon. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to round 2 of 4 of the PUBG Mobile LIDOMA EMEA event. And we are going to be kicking off round 2, of course, as the wide open desert of Miramar. Now, what do we need to say about a map like Miramar? Well, essentially, it's the largest map that we've got in the game. Technically, Erangel is the same size, being an 8x8, but that includes Erangel's bodies of water. So realistically, this here is going to be our largest map, which means that the odds of two teams landing next to each other is just going to be a bit slimmer. But as me and my main man DK well know, this is not all that can be said about this map. It's also the most open map that we have in the game. And when I say that, I mean that the odds of you being sniped from 300 meters away is just exponentially higher than it is on any other map. So you need to be alert of not just your immediate surroundings, but your distant surroundings as well. And the third and final thing is that this map is so large that it finds itself almost entirely reliant upon the flight path just to determine what sort of early game we end up getting, DK. So with that being said, let's see what we're working with. Oof.
I mean, you forgot the most important part.
What's
right?
that?
There's a lot of sand.
There.
There's a lot of sand, seeing that's in the desert, but of course the teams now will not have to suffer with too much of that sand, at least flight path-wise, right? Because they're pretty close to the waterway, as we can see the flight path now on that southern edge. And this is going to be quite an interesting one to see where all these teams are going to be looking to get themselves situated.
Yeah, there's no question that this is not the ideal route for our participants, but it's great for us, the viewers, because it means that they're not going to have a choice. They're going to have to be getting in some early confrontation, at least some of them. But it's not as bad of a flight path as it looks, DK, and here's why. Because if you were to imagine, pardon me here, the route from Campo Militar all the way down to Minas del Sur, it would definitely leave you with a lot of compounds and cities on either side. And so while it's not central, it isn't as bad as it looks. And that is particularly specific to Miramar here. So yeah, with that being said, no time to waste. We got Nexus and Cave preparing to square off already. No time to waste whatsoever. You don't usually see those immediate confrontations in the very beginning of a Miramar match, but when you both are going to land Impala, not a lot of room and not a lot of options.
Yep, but that's the beauty of it. We want to see these teams being presented with a bit of a challenge. I mean, I was keeping a very watchful eye on that, but in the feed we see Game Lord now just running a few people over. The same happening there for Shockwave, but this is not really what we were expecting to see this early stage. But Nexus now dealing quite a bit of a blow to the side there of Cave.
Yeah, they already took influence out of the equation, leaving it riding on Creepy Dimension. And, oh, as I say it, Creepy is eliminated as well. In just a matter of brief moments, Cave has been reduced down to half of their starting lineup, which means that if they are going to be taking this event seriously, they absolutely need to change up their strategy for this match from this point out and dial things back from that aggressive standpoint to a bit more of a reserved approach. I don't want to say passive, but a reserved approach to try to secure some placement at the very least. Ooh, here we go.
Well, let's see what's going to happen. Brute Force now having to hold on that far western side. We got the players from the NavySeals held up right there alongside them, but that's not the only team that they need to worry about. We've got the Muerte there. We've got the players from Virtuspro, as well as a little bit of a side order of Qodex. So, you know, there's some tension spread all throughout this map.
Yeah, and boy, if you are mined from brute force right now, you are just swimming in a pool of Navy SEALs members, and things are looking grim. But wow, pretty good shots there. He does get, I believe, more damage out than he received, but still, now at this point, his position is no secret, and he is going to be swarmed on by the SEALs. He gets one, almost gets another, but taken down in retaliation. Revenge is served cold and fast, and he's going to be eliminated just like that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's kind of what is to be expected looking at where these teams are participating, or rather playing it out. But here we go, we got Prepod also now just climbing up the hillside. We did see a few of those hits connecting on through, but are they going to be able to make it out? Oh, up comes a bit of an opportunity here from the Muerte. Will we see that Sender is going to be a Malloy to find the first one attack, and then also finds a good response to that. But there's still a few more plays to go here.
Yeah.
Oh.
That quick work with that Uzi. Oh, that nade almost eliminating attacker from the equation. Trying to retaliate with a nade of his own, but not connecting. But going to use this opportunity to try to heal up while the revive is potentially going to happen. No, it is not. That is a quick finish with that Uzi there. Well, that's going to leave Discrim and Diana a little bit spread out from their teammate Furia. You can see Discrim here, M16 in hand, just burst firing away. Not getting much damage in there, but going to use this opportunity to dip out of dodge and try to get a little bit better placement in zone.
Yeah, but it's still quite a bit of a challenging position because the area there is so mountainous. So the moment you just start building up a bit of momentum, it's very easy for team to move in behind you and just capitalize on the opportunity ahead of them. But there's still going to be quite a bit of fighting happening between the Muerte and the players there from the NavySeals. As you can see, the Muerte not going to be backing off just yet. Instead, we've got Discrim now finding a bit of an approach here. Who needs to just top up an extra bit of loot. And I like this approach coming through from NavySeals, right? A full-on aggressive line with that extra bit of overwatch.
Yeah, and honestly, that was a great nade, taking Discrim down very low here, but he's got to prioritize. Does he heal himself up or heal Diana? And look at this, the NavySeals coming in as a solitary unit from multiple angles here. Access pretty low on health, attacker taken down. Oh my goodness, it's all riding on Access at this point from here. Where is Palau? Is Palau with him?
Like no. Bilio, whatever the name is, all the way at the back end there. But Access now will need to access that that inner goat if they're wanting to survive this play right here. Because the Muerte, yeah, sure, their health bars are not looking all too great. But we've seen what Discrim can do, and all they need is the opportunity. And that is exactly what we see coming through here from Discrim. Now moving up, trying to get a little bit of that elevation. Diana also not being brought back into the fight. And this is the opportunity for Discrim now to make that stand and even make that comeback.
Yeah, honestly, this trade of revives is a little bit surprising. Yes, while I understand it's important to get your teammates up, it also feels like maybe 5 to 10 bullets could have eliminated 2 members there, just so low on health. But you know what? It's always easy for us, the spectators, to say what should have been done when we had that Spectator 2020 site. Where's the next bit of blood going to come from, DK? I'm going to say potentially Hate driving down south towards Impala, towards Nexus. Potentially, something between the NavySeals and De Muerte could continue, but it looks like De Muerte is going to be rotating northbound instead. So I'm not so sure about all of that. Let's see here. Just to get a brief idea, we can see De Muerte not far above them. And yeah, maybe they are going to get pursued, or maybe it's going to be a contestation for that high ground, that mountainous area, but they're both still outside of zone. So positioning is going to be key moving forward as this zone shrinks. Where? Oh, where?
I have to agree with you on that one, but as we can see, of course, Los Leones also receiving a little bit of love. We got the players there from KONINA Power now pulling in. We've got Cave moving in as well. We still have the players from Doom situated on that southern side. They're going to get contested by the Madbulls moving in behind them. And then, of course, we add a nice side order of a little bit of the Major Pride moving through. So North and South Los Leones is going to be quite contested between these 6 teams.
Yeah, and this is going to be really interesting to see how Doom handles the likes of Madbulls here. This is a real opportunity for Zeus to catch this one particular bull off guard. Not sure who it is. Oh, here we go. It is Frozen. And actually, Frozen is not going to be caught off guard. He is all too aware of Doom's presence here, as you can see. Readily equipped with that M4 in hand. Waiting for the right opportunity to strike, but I don't know if you can really call it the right opportunity, because in this situation, he's a bit outnumbered.
Yeah, but not outgunned. And that is a situation that could still potentially turn in their favor. And all it's going to come down to is whether or not the rest of the team is going to come in to try and fortify that. They still have a great opportunity to do exactly that. So I'm not all too worried about Frozen at this point.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you who we are going to go check out is the likes of Hate. They're in a bit of a standoff here. It looks like they were able to secure their first kill. However, they did lose Michi in the process, so it's going to be riding on Beast Noshi, and Mazaro. Mozero?
Yeah, Mazero. Yeah.
You'll have to forgive
Well,
me,
we
guys.
know-
I'm from the NA region, so a lot of these names, it's my first time pronouncing some of them. But here we have it, guys. Let's just see what is on the board. Where's our next bit of blood going to come from? It looks maybe like KONINA Power and Cave have had a little bit of a distance altercation. Yeah, it does appear to be the case. But KONINA Power back up to a full 4-piece, apparently. Still up and kicking. And this just leaves us with a little bit of downtime, guys, and that really is to be expected in large maps. And large maps are going to be 3 out of the 4 maps that we're working with today. So yeah, you can expect these moments of downtime, but you know what I always say, DK, is a more passive early game is going to translate to a more action-packed and climactic mid or in-game. So it's going to be worth the trade if you ask me. But here we have a potential thing. Nexus might go off against the likes of GQ.
Yeah, they might. So there's a great opportunity up in towards that Impala area, but it does seem like GQ are going to be focusing their efforts a little bit more down towards that southern side, as that is exactly where the next zone has taken us. But we do see a big mass convergence of teams now looking to strengthen up on that southern edge. The players here from the Madbulls getting right down to business. Of course, Major Power holding on, Major Pride rather, holding on that ridge line. But this is what makes the southern edge so interesting, is it's almost reminiscent of Sanhok, right? You've got all these little bit of dips and valleys and hillsides to try and sneak your way around to get that next opportune angle on your opponent.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. But no time to waste. KONINA Power securing a knock on the likes of Doom. They're having a little bit of a distance altercation here, as you can see. But it is not like to be a thirst in the works here for them. A little bit too much distance. And as you can see, KONINA Power isn't going to be so easily tempted to do an immediate push on that knock. And I don't really blame them. There's still plenty of time. And we're only in stage 2 of the zones here. So, yeah, I think they're playing the long haul. And I think they got the right idea of it. But switching back down south to where Major Pride and Madbulls potentially prepare to face off in an altercation. Little bit of space in between the two, so it might not amount to much. Only time will tell.
But what I also like is the addition of Siren moving in on that angle, coming through from the western side. So if Siren play their cards well, they could actually find that approach, find that opportunity, and potentially lay waste to, well, at least find a few hits or maybe a few eliminations coming through on towards the Madbulls, and who even knows, maybe on towards Major Pride as well.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. This is interesting to see how fast of an early game, how quickly paced of an early match this was, and now we're left with a little bit of a standstill. Just as the calm before the storm kind of kicks into effect, we're going to be left with one heck of an in-game DK.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hairy, and I think a whole lot of spicy. But, we see a lot of the teams now focusing into that center area. We still have the players there from Dagestan holding on to that northwestern side. Of course, the players from Hate also just about to get themselves rotated out of the blue. Speaking about blue, the Madbulls now trying to take on all these altercations on different angles, but the zone has moved even more now to the eastern side. So the Madbulls can't waste too much time. They need to prioritize that positioning if they are looking to capitalize on the availability here.
Yeah, and I think that is exactly what they have in mind here. Look at this western portion of zone. So many gatekeeping opportunities. Madbulls might even have to face off against the likes of Major Pride, potentially, up to their north. We got Qodex, who has to worry about Doom just below them. Box, who has to worry about the likes of Caves eSports in front of them. We have a lot of potential gatekeep opportunities here. I'm going to switch my attention to KONINA Power just in case, because they are currently sandwiched on 4 sides by Cave, Shockwave, Qodex, and Doom.
Yeah, but I mean, it is Los Leones, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
Right? The teams have a lot of hidey holes to try and utilize. One point that I'm quite interested in is to see what GameLord's going to be doing. They're holding on to that southern ridge. We can see them just on the minimap, just barely within the sights there. And they have a bit of an opportunity potentially towards the players there from Major Pride, but also a great line of sight down in towards Los Leones itself.
Yeah, potentially. Oh, yep. And it looks like Game Lords is going to be engaging, potentially. Yes, it is, as that's a takedown on Happy. Happy of Shockwave, I believe. Oh, let me withdraw that previous statement, ladies and gentlemen. That was Happy of Major Pride. When I build my time machine, that's going to be one of the first things I fix. But no time to waste, as we got the Sirens preparing for an altercation with Virtuspro. And oh, that is Bear being taken down via the nade. Lisa going to try to add on to that with a nade onto Panda. Will it connect? Ooh, just a little bit off, unfortunately, for them. And this is a real opportunity. Panda going to cook up a nade in retaliation, see if he can make it rain a little bit of hellfire on the Sirens. Ellie taking a huge, huge hit, being brought down to 1/5 of her overall health. Going to try to use this opportunity to shroud herself in a cloud of smoke and maybe heal up if possible. Polar with a little bit of the same idea on his mind, his or her mind. Oh, but that is Panda being downed right before our eyes, leaving everything riding on Polar and Polar alone. It's the last of the 3 bears.
Yeah, this is almost where you can say it went the complete opposite way as the Sirens go off, and that is the players from Virtuspro getting sent on their merry way. But now, the Sirens have a little bit of a rush as they need to get themselves situated back in towards the zone. But they are feeling like $100 right here, bringing in an absolutely phenomenal performance. But we are still to see where this next phase is going to be going, and it centers up right on towards Los Leones itself. And this is where the carnage now will start to come trickling on through.
Yeah, I gotta add on to what you said about the Sirens. You know, they are feeling like $1 million, and now often that late rotation into zone, especially on Miramar, could be a team's undoing. But it just so happens that they've got space to afford here. So yeah, they should be feeling like $1 million. Getting eyes on MP here. This is of course Major Pride working their way in one by one around the likes of Game Lord, as well as Box eSports. A lot of central confrontation here in the works here. Going to switch my attention back to Game Lord, just sandwiched in between the likes of so many teams. This is where all-out bloodbath warfare goes out here. We got Cave down to 2 members, Dimension and Tomorrow, Oat Morose.
Sure, let's go with that one, right? Yeah, Tomorrow is over there. But it's going to be down to what the players from Gabe will be able to do. And of course, as we now look at Major Pride, still holding a bit of a position. Yes, they find a nice, great spray coming through on towards Game Lord. And with that, we are only now still down to 15 teams. We still have pretty much everyone still locked into this lobby. And this is going to be a pretty crazy city fight.
Yeah, this is going to be all-out bloodbath warfare, as we said. There's not going to be a way to catch all these fights simultaneously, ladies and gentlemen. Not when it's going to go down in such a short period of time. But we will be sure to catch as much action as possible. We got KONINA Power swarming in on the likes of Cave eSports. But Cave currently sandwiched between themselves and Shockwave. Oof. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. I hear these shots going off in the distance. Where is it from? It's going to be firing down by Dagestan onto the likes of the Sirens. Sirens still a full 4-piece, but Lisa is knocked, quickly revived. And Dagestan really needs some kills on the board here. We see Shifu 3x Scar L aimed in at one of the Sirens, but not really catching that line of sight like he or she was hoping for.
Yeah, but this is where I want to see Shifu just master this approach, right? I want to see that play come in, and maybe that could be exactly what they have in store for us. Because I mean, they got a nice control over that northwestern side of zone. The only team, or the only player, in fact, held up alongside next to them is going to be Luminatrix, I guess, coming through from the NavySeals side. The rest of the team's all situated a little bit further down towards that southern edge. So Dagestan, they have essentially free reign towards the northwestern edge.
Yeah. And if you are Brute Force's final remaining member, AO here, you got to lay low and just kind of put the pride to the side here, and let these numbers dwindle. The only shot at really being a significant contribution to your team at this point in this match is securing those placements. Like 1 or 2 kill points is not going to be very helpful in the full context of things, given the way this match has played out for him. So yeah, I think he's doing the right thing here, just laying low. Maybe even if he does catch that line of sight, not engaging just yet.
Yep, a lot of that trigger discipline now has to come through. And of course, the Madbulls are going to be looking to just inch their way a little bit further on forward. They have quite a bit of rotation to make now coming through from that southern edge. But this late rotation could actually be a bit of a saving grace, as the rest of the teams are pretty much focused on towards each other. KONINA Power, of course, are going to make me swallow my words. You can see a bit of a spray come in. We do have the players now from Bax eSports also looking for that continuation as they push in from the northeastern side.
Yeah, and it looks like a member of Box has gotten a takedown here, but look at this. They are just driving in, trying to secure placement for dear life. All the while, we got the immediate northbound threat of Shockwave, and then KONINA Power just below them. Oh man, what a swarm of opponents here.
Well, I mean, we've only lost 1 team so far. We're down to, well, since the last time we pointed the amount of teams still alive, right? 40 players up now, 13 teams as yet another team falls on down. That is going to be Nexus getting sent away as Octavian gets taken on down. Goat, of course, will get blown to smithereens, but a lot of aggression now coming through. As you can see, the players here from Qodex, Nexus. We've got quite a bit of a fight on the southern edge.
Yeah, Hayes has a real opportunity to catch Nexus off guard here, and that's why I was tuned in, but it looks like it's going to be quite the opposite, the vice versa situation, as his teammate, Single, is naded out in one single nade, and now Hayes has to retreat a little bit upstairs here and try to get a little bit of a position of safety to heal up. All the while, the final hope for GQ, which is Quasi, is immediately eliminated by my caster curse.
Yep. I mean, it's almost just as OP as the blue zone is, but in the meantime, we are still left now with 11 teams. We still have the players from Qodex hold on to that very centered up angle here, alongside the players from Nexus. But Doom inching their way on forward, as you can see just up ahead. Sirens also trying to make a bit of a play for the positioning. And it's going to be a very hairy shift once this next phase is decided. Yeah.
And all the while, Qodex just putting a lot of pressure on the likes of Doom and Madbulls simultaneously. It's a very bold move to try to engage 2 teams at the same time, and often very disadvantageous, as we might just be about to see. Oh, KONINA Power having a bit of a tough go as well. Yep, this is going to be a tough one for Major Pride, as it's down to Nomi and Monkey. Monkey with very little health to speak of. Ooh, Nomi taking such a hit. Oh, and still finishing the job there. That M4 just absolutely annihilating his opponents. And now he's got a Martha Stewart finish on the mind as he goes for that pan.
You know, cooking up a bit of a surprise, but of course you have to get that res in to keep a team in contention. This could be that opportunity now for Shockwave to come in with a bit of that third-party actions. We can see them just, you know, paying close attention to the stairs, keeping their ears open. We still have Dimension positioned just above them. So Shockwave also not in the cleanest position at this point.
Well, Shockwave is a team that probably has a little bit more ground to cover and make up for than any other team on the board right now, with that last place finish in round 1 with 0 points to add on to that. They are definitely showing a lot of improvement. I believe 4 kills on the board and still a full, at least 3 members up on their team. I would have to double check on that. But Madbulls quickly riding up into Qodex and right on up as Frozen eliminates himself with that vehicle explosion. Oh, I don't care what tier you're at. Those mistakes do happen.
Yeah,
I think we all saw Paraboy. We all saw Paraboy in PMGC. We know it happens at every level. No matter how good you are, mistakes are part of the game from time to time. All right, yeah. Shockwave. Ooh, down to Trazen.
Ooh. Down goes Dimension. Cave now. Not looking all too great anymore. They've been reduced. And with that, we are down to our final 7 teams. Only 15 contenders left. to battle it out. And it's going to be Nexus now applying quite a bit of a pressure coming through onto the players from the side of Major Pride. We've got Sirens trying to make a bit of a push in as well. I mean, this is going to be such a difficult rotation, especially looking at where the zone shift has kind of taken us.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of space to choose from here. The real estate becomes pretty slim pickings at this point, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got 13 people spread out across 6 teams, so placement is just up in the air at the moment. It is going to say, I would have to give the most credit here to Qodex with their 2-1 split, trying to occupy as much of the zone as possible, maybe even do a little bit of bully tactics. And you can't really blame them because they're only one of 2 teams with 3 people remaining. We have 0 full teams left here on the board. So I kind of don't blame them. I like the 2-1 split for numerous reasons. One person can kind of go off straight off on their own, be the outlier, and either draw the attention away from their 2 teammates, giving them their option to kind of bully, or even just offering the vice versa, or just the multiple perspectives advantage. I think at this stage in the zone, a 2-1 split as a 3-piece is the right move.
Yeah, it does allow them great coverage, but we also see Off Haze now just retreating back into that blue stack. And this, of course, opens up a bit of an opportunity now for the players coming through there from backs. As, you know, they've got this northern territory. They still have Dagestan positioned right here alongside them. But the Sirens, they've also been super, super quiet, right? They've not really been making all too much noise. But now we've got Shockwave and Nexus having to try and get themselves situated. And this is the opportunity now for Qodex to potentially spot out that play onto its Trazen.
Yeah. And honestly, all the while, yeah, I was going to say, Trazen, he's going to have a tough go getting that rotation. And I think he's got the right idea by trying to pull that wide flank. But all the while, the Sirens, only 2 of them left, trying to stick revives before they have to work. They actually don't have to work their way in zone. They already got that placement. They just dodged a bullet there, all too metaphorically. But keeping eyes on the likes of Dagestan, Shifu, and Zadira. Just holding position. Oh, Doran taken down by Qodex. Look at Qodex really popping off here. 6 kills in the distance, and 4 of those kills go to Haze alone.
That's such a beautiful position coming through for Qodex, because if the zone centers up on their building, they have full reign, full control of who is allowed up towards them. But in the meanwhile, it is going to be Trazen sneaking a cheeky head up in towards Moneyken, as that elevation does not really work in their favor all too much. Meanwhile, Dagestan also going to be trying to get a bit of a footing up on towards the roof. And as we look down onto the southern edge, right? Nexus, the Sirens, Shockwave, all just playing the quiet game now.
Yeah. And Trazen, what a performance as a solo at this point. Responsible for 5 of the team's 6 kills, and great placement here for his team. Just a huge improvement from round 1 in terms of overall standings. All the while, oh, as I said it, he's caster cursed and eliminated the second I switch away from him. But no time to waste, guys. Dagestan is one of 4 teams remaining. We got Qodex, Nexus, Sirens, and Dagestan. It's a 3v2v2v1 to end round 2. Let's get it.
Ooh. Speak about a challenge, right? I love Dagestan's position, just held up right below Qodex. Moneyken now starting to push down that staircase, instead trying to sneak up and maybe even pincer up Dagestan. So this could be a beautiful strat. Should Qodex be able to pull this one off? But no, there we have it. The first shot comes through. Moneyken also getting picked up as Zadira goes down. Now turns to Shifu. The shots connect on through, and Shifu quickly just vaulting themselves right out of that window, trying to keep themselves in the fight.
Oh, the drop down from Purple. Beautifully done. And with an Uzi, no less. That boy has close quarter combat on the mind. That's an understatement. We're going to switch over to the final hope here for Nexus, which is Christian. Firing away with that M4. He does seal the deal, giving him his 5th kill and the team's 12th. What a performance. Can he do this with no help? Ah, too little, too late. Outnumbered, outmanned, and outgunned. But let's not take credit away from that performance that he just put up there, DK. Honestly, great job to both teams. But Qodex, man. Qodex. Just added on to the board, man. First place, 10 kills between Purple, Haze, and Moneyken alone. Single was eliminated very early on, and still, as a three-piece, they've already shown what they can do as a three-piece, and they just showed it again, that it is not a map-specific sort of grind. We got Nexus securing second with 12 of those kills, but 10 of those 12 are between Doran and Christian alone. Not bad. We got the ladies of the Sirens coming in third place overall with 5 kills, 3 of which are from Ellie. Dagestan securing fourth, and that's going to be with 5 kills total. A huge improvement from Shockwave, entering as a three-piece, but securing 5th place with 6 kills, and 5 of those 6 came from Trazen alone. We got Bax eSports, eSports in 6th place with 2 kills, 1 from Reflect, 1 from Zashipa. We've got Major Pride grabbing 7th place, and that's going to be with 6 kills between 3 of their players. 8th place is going to belong to the likes of Doom. That's with 4 kills, 3 of which are going to belong to Zeus. The boys and girls in Cave eSports coming in 9th place with 1 kill from Dimension. 10th place is going to belong to the Madbulls, but with 0 kills to speak of. KONINA Power, another rough go for them. 11th place with 1 kill, and that's from Palucci. We got GQ grabbing 12th place with 1 kill from I guess AZ? Yeah, I'm just going to say AZ. If anyone hears me mispronouncing, just let me know in the chat. We got the NavySeals in 13th place. That's going to be with 3 kills, 1 from Attacker and 2 from Access. Hate grabbing 14th with 1 kill from Mazero, pardon me. 15th going to belong to the likes of Brute Force, and that's going to be with 0 kills. 16th is going to go to Game Lord, and that's going to be with 2 kills, both of which are from BBZ. De Muerte, 17th place with 2, and very last place, 18th, going to Virtuspro with 0. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what an intense first half of the event, but we still have 2 more matches to decide who's going to advance on. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking the next match, closing things in a little bit. We've seen our participants on the first map ever of Erangel, and now the wide open desert of Miramar. But I am so curious what's going to happen when we close things in on that lush condensed forest. I am, of course, speaking of Sanhok as we return for match 3 of 4 in just a few short moments. This is the PUBG Mobile LIDOMA Invitational EMEA event. Stick around. We'll be back soon. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with round 3. But before we get too much into it, let's go over the overall scores as they currently stand. Look at this, DK. Qodex just putting up a crazy performance here. 16 kill points and 16 placement points already on the board with a total of 32. 10 points ahead of the silver medal Nexus Gaming at 22. In third place right now, we got Madbulls just 4 points behind with 18. And then this is where things start to get extra close. Cave is just 1 point behind the Madbulls. And guys, remember, there is a pretty healthy payout here. So you're going to want to have your placement because third place pays out $100 versus the fourth place $50. Every slot counts. But we are kicking off, as I said, round 3, as you guessed it, a Sanhok. Now, DK knows my whole spiel, but what do we need to say about a map like Sanhok? Basically the exact opposite of our last match, which was Miramar, our largest map. This one's going to be our smallest. Now, technically, Livik, Karakin, and the new map, Nusa, are all tinier, but we don't really mess with those in scrims, so this is going to be the smallest that we have, meaning that the odds of two teams landing next to each other just automatically going to be a bit higher. But as DK knows all too well, this is also the most condensed map. Now, what do I mean when I say condensed? I mean most lush in vegetation. There's more natural cover to take, more grass to hide inside, and trees and boulders to hide behind, so you need to be alert for a higher than average number of snakes than usual. And the third and final thing is that this map is so small, you can get pretty much anywhere you want just by deploying your chute early enough. So this flight path not being perfectly central is not that significant. But we can see already, we got quite a few early jumpers here. We got members of Madbulls dropping alongside De Muerte. Actually, De Muerte is going to be heading a little bit further southbound. Ruins are going to belong to the Madbulls, potentially. No, they're going to spread out completely. It's a risky move for a Sanhok match, but we are going to have to divert our attention to the action right off the bat, as we got Game Lord dropping here on Nexus, and yep, Victor's already down, leaving it all on Dikash and Robs.
Yep, the rush is coming straight on through, as you can see. Game Lord now, I mean, looking to pick up a few of the pieces here, but with that, Game Lord down to only one remaining hopeful. There's going to be a lot of pressure riding on their shoulders, but there's a good place to try and pull this off, right? Rob can successfully navigate what is available up in Lobster, but that is going to be short-lived, as we can see the shots connecting on through and the end of the road being in sight. Of course, now Qodex coming in behind him.
I feel like that's a unicorn when you see it in the wild. A 4x AK, it's so rare, but to see it used effectively, I love it. And Havlik now with 2 kills already on the board. Yo, Redfield, I see you in chat, brother. He says, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of an analysis between each match. DK, how do you feel about maybe you and me coming in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes early this coming match and just dropping a little freestyle analysis on them?
I mean, we can analyze that, Bish.
Yeah, man.
So
I'm all for that.
Might as well do it. But speaking about the analysis, right? I'm analyzing that the Madbulls and the Muerte are getting ready for a bit of an altercation.
Yeah, and Frozen, hopefully anything but Frozen still here, because he's got the immediate threat on him. But realistically, the numbers are in his favor here. Trying to click on De Muerte, but he keeps moving. There we go. The drop down.
Ooh.
Well, give Maldi a little bit of credit, you know, using that new gun, the 7.62 Honey Badger. All right, now where would our next bit of blood come from? A little too early to tell. Go ahead.
I was waiting for it to go somewhere. You like that sweet 7.62 Honey Badger, and then you stopped.
Oh, like, yeah. You were waiting for the dad joke. Well,
yeah, I was like, that was such a setup, and then you just let me hang.
Well, I'm glad that we do have a little bit of downtime, so may as well talk about it. What are your thoughts on the Honey Badger? The fact that we have sort of a SMG based 7.62 gun now. You know, very, very damage intensive, a little bit recoil intensive as well. What are your thoughts on it so far?
I like it. I mean, I've played with it quite a bit. If I find it, I'll take it. I'll even trade my barrel for a Honey Badger, right? Because you can just lock in those sweet shots.
Yeah, honestly, I remember, when it first dropped very, very recently, the initial feedback was not that great from at least from my local region. But given it a couple days passed, and you start seeing people starting to warm up to it a little bit more and more each match. And now I'm seeing it being used pretty significantly. And I gotta say, I love the sound of the bullet shots. Well, no time to waste. Cave, Dimension. Oh, he's a ways away from his teammates. And I think that just goes to exemplify the trade you make when you do that sort of split. You're not all there in one spot to protect one another. But I think Moros is now all too aware of that fact and going to try to reunite with his teammates.
But I think Cave should have dropped maybe a little bit more northeast from where they've touched down, right? I mean, Camp Charlie is a good spot, but there's a better spot for Cave. Just a little bit more towards that northeastern side, right?
Yeah.
Let's see if you can find it.
Okay, so you're saying Cave to go to Cave. You dad joking.
Yes.
I love it.
That would have been sublime. That would have been sublime. But speaking about sublime, right? We do have a little bit of an altercation up north. Also, the contention starting to develop up in that quarry area. But there we go. The shots now coming through as the NavySeals actually push in quite aggressively on towards KONINA Power.
And I hate to, every time you start to talk about them, I have to switch to another team because I'm just feeling that Ado's time here is very limited as he is being swarmed upon by Doom members. And Doom could be all up on him all too literally here as he tries to go prone. That nade not hitting any sort of connecting damage. His location, probably not much of a secret, but as you mentioned, KONINA is going at it in the distance. And let's catch a brief eye. Wow.
Hey.
Not playing games with that 3XM4. Oh,
no,
look at this flank. Look at this flank. Oh, never mind. I apologize. I thought Facho was pulling a side flank. He's actually in the same position. It's going to be the NavySeals who are pulling the flank. Attacker pushing up a little bit. It looks like his teammate Matrix has been located here. Oh,
I think the main player to worry about at this one is going to be Sangori, right? Because Sangori is going to be looking to rotate up along that northern passageway with Bellucci right on the front line. And this could be KONINA Power just absolutely doubling down. But of course, Qodex moving it behind them as well. So they need to be really swift about this altercation. Oh!
Bache coming in super clutch right there. And look, just clinging to a sliver of health. And Qodex is going to pick it off. A nice little third-party knock steal. Now, can they acquire the kill? Yes, they do. Fache down for the count. Oh, he's not thirsted yet. Ooh, they still have hope in the air. Hope is on the horizon for him.
Well, up comes that re-knock on towards Bellucci. Now it's going to be down to whether or not Sangori will be able to get that res in. Fache is back in the fight, back in contention. But Qodex, they've capitalized on the time available to them. They've started to flank around, and this is going to be that full-on send coming through as Qodex now look to tighten their grip on towards KONINA Power.
And this is the exact sort of placement rotation that you would expect from the team that's leading the kill board and just the leaderboard in general. That 2-1 split getting so many multiple angles, and then Havlik with the DBS! Goodness gracious, now responsible for 3 of the team's 6 kills, but that noise was just blood in the water for the Sharks to smell, and boy, did they ever capitalize on it with a third-party knock, just picking off what little bit of health remained for them.
Yep, but Brute Force, they're also going to be waiting for their opportunity to bounce. So we can see Prepod and Mind just waiting very patiently in the wing. They know that there's a team just up ahead, and this could be the opportunity. I mean, Qodex, sure, they have had a little bit of a blow being dealt towards them, but it's a very interesting drop coming through from Qodex, right? Because we've got Full and Off Haze moving together. The single very singled out all the way up in towards that northeastern side, up in Mong Nai.
Yeah, 100%. It is a little bit interesting to see, but I'm betting, oh, no, I was going to say I'm betting they're down to 2 members, but you're right. They have single way out there. And I'm betting he might even be AFK. Let me look in on it. Yeah, he's AFK. Maybe had trouble loading into the game. Unfortunately, that sort of thing does happen every now and again. You just kind of have to roll with the flow. But we got a potential altercation on our hands as Bach S and Doom close closer and closer. All the while, Madbulls being picked apart. Oh, way off in the distance. They are up against the likes of Hate Gaming. Hate Gaming hasn't had a whole lot of screen time, so I'm going to get it from their perspective here. Look at this. Mazero firing away. UMP quickly switching over to the M4. We see that new meta combo, the UMP M4 put together, going in after Zeri Shea, but not getting a lot of connecting damage. His teammate just aggressively hopping over the wall and immediately picked apart there, but Zeri has no health to speak of. Mazero, all opportunity right here.
Yeah, let's see whether or not Zerek is going to be able to survive this one. That blue zone is tickling away at that health bar, but up comes Mozero, full-on aggression. It's a nice little bit of a cat and mouse game that we see happening here, but Mozero looking to get the setup sorted.
Mozero giving away that opportunity. Just that hesitation to push might have been his downside, but look at the hop on the wall. A little hardcore parkour takedown for you. Love to see it. That was a beautiful little makeup in the slack there. That hesitation was going to get a little bit of criticism from me, but then, wow, way to make up for it there in that last moment.
Yeah, don't hate on hate, right? They got it, right? They got it. It's one of those teams we got to be very, very careful of. But of course, speaking about being careful of teams, we do see the players here from Bax Esports now still keeping themselves in a very consistent angle. We got Doom just up ahead of them, and of course we got Dagestan rotating on up as well. So this could be a nice little bit of a triangle of doom starting to develop here.
Yeah, and Nato Pick, I see you in the chat rooting for Dagestan, and so may as well, while we are here, get it from their perspective. They still have 0 kills, but keep in mind, they're still a full 4-person team, and as I said last match, you cannot place enough emphasis on being a full 4-person team come in-game. It can be an absolutely imperative difference maker between life and death.
Yeah, definitely could be, and of course, a quick little push coming through with that buggy as well. I like the fact that Dagestan just looking to fortify the position slowly but surely, not blindly just pushing forward.
And as you say that, Keep sort of blindly pushes forward. But, oh my goodness, wow, that DBS, man. That DBS, one bullet separating you from life and death in that sort of proximity.
Wow, Shifu just on fire, taking down 2 of the players coming there from the side of Doom. And they're not out of the woods. They still have 1 or 2 more to take care of. But now they can take a swing at backs as well.
Yeah, well, you know what? All that blood was smelled in the water. No time to waste here for Dagestan. Shifu being shot down to below half health. Sadira is going to get revived. For a moment there, I thought he was about to get thirsted. By just getting a little bit of cover in the nick of time, Shifu going to use this opportunity to pull a little slight rotation flank here, getting a lot of distance between himself and his opponents so he can have all the room he needs to work his way up. Potentially, maybe he's just falling back for a heal, but I would imagine he's going to heal and then pull that flank. No time to waste yet again. Who do we have here? It is going to be
hang on. Look at Doom. Yeah, yep. 0 is AFK. I mean...
Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
They're just sitting there. They've not yet been spotted.
So many kills could have gone to him, but at the same time, the second he shoots, he would be out of the equation. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. If only Dagestan knew that there was a free kill just a few feet away from them.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of scary, right? I mean, Shifu just ran right past that, but speaking about running past it, it's going to be the players here from the side of Bax now. Looking to continue, just quickly looking for a bit of that reset to come on through. Meanwhile, the players there from Major Pride and Cave taking up a little bit more of a centralized position. I think that is a good preemptive rotation coming through, seeing that we still have the Muerte, GQ, and the players from Qodex still yet to push into zone.
Yeah, and speaking of GQ and Qodex, it looks like Hayes is creeping closer and closer southbound in towards AZ's proximity, and this could be interesting. However, it is important to note that this is Painan, and Painan has a little bit of an unmentioned trend here, where when teams land on opposite sides of the river, it can often end up in a bit of a game of patience, a standoff. So I'm very thankful to see Hayes on the same side of his opponent. Oh my goodness, and AZ was in the middle of plain sight, hiding so obvious that he wasn't spotted, and look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Purple, luckily, was right next to his buddy and able to finish the job that Hayes started. But all that sound and commotion has definitely brought on the attention of the remainder of GQ, and they have a great positioning to catch them off guard with a 2-1 split. And here we see it. we got Evo Station coming in, UMP, CQC Annihilator, and just finishing the job, making it look effortless. Ooh. De Muerte.
Yeah, but I mean, even Korka coming in with, you know, that beast of a weapon there. I mean, that the MG, that thing is just absolutely insane. But now we've got 10 teams still having to play for a bit of a position here. We still have one of the Shockwave players, SnowX, all the way up in Cal. Pretty sure they could also simply be AFK. We've got a Hate riding the blue zone. We've got the players from Brute Force moving up as well. We can see Minus now pulling in on that eastern side for Shockwave. So, yeah, there's a lot of challenging positions, but somehow, some way, Zero is still alive.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I feel like there might have been a load-in issue or something. A couple teams are having some AFK issues, which you don't usually see in a cash event like this, but it does happen from time to time, but no time to waste, ladies and gentlemen. We have got Major Pride squaring off against KV eSports. Let's get it. Look at the spread on Cave, brother. We got Moros here, 4x, M4 aimed in at De Muerte's Diana. Not really catching a line of sight, but if he focuses in too much, if he starts seeing too red there, he could lose his opportunity to take a little bit of a knock on a member of Hate behind him, Noshi. Or even the obvious looming threat of Major Pride.
Yeah, but I think what's going to be more important here is that positioning back in towards the zone. And I think this is where Dino's got a good setup, right? Looking to get that anchor point established while the rest of the team kind of make their way in that general direction. But it is going to be Morrows getting taken right on down as Noshi lines up a beautiful, beautiful spray. In yet another elimination now for the side of Hate. And that puts them on a grand total of 9 elims.
Yeah. And what a performance. We have seen just some amazing gameplay here today. A lot of aggression and a lot of tactics just beautifully executed, but we still got a little bit of action ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. We are reaching the end game here for round 3 of 4, the Sanhok match. And right now, I'm kind of curious to see what GQ's Tofis is doing here, driving way away from the zone into the dead zone. I mean, oh, he's got a teammate way out in the middle of nowhere, out in dodge, in the blue zone, taking damage, and Tofis is going to be that savior, coming to pick his buddy up and work his way back into zone. Look at this, Diana is back as well from De Muerte, working her way in from the southbound portion outside of Camp Charlie, just below Cave. And as well, we got Noshi from Hate out there on the bridge. A lot of dead zone members here, and I'm a little surprised to see it, DK, because if I'm not mistaken, hasn't the heal strat been kind of rendered mostly ineffective with that new update?
It still works sometimes.
Okay.
Still works sometimes. So I think it's all about the luck of the draw, and it's going to be a big draw, as you've mentioned. We've got a lot of players holding up in that blue zone, but it is going to be the players from Major Pride now looking to double down on the aggression as they pick up 2 of the GQ players here. And that is going to put a lot of pressure coming through onto Evo Station, who we see just a little bit further over on towards that northwestern edge.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm just going to, for a brief moment, catch eyes on said member of Evo Station, the last hope here for GQ. All the while, Cave members just above him. Whether or not it's going to amount to something, it looks to be more and more likely as we see a Cave member approaching from the south. Pardon me, is that Cave? Yes, it is. It's Creepy and Influence. And Creepy creeping.
Yeah, well, that's what they do, right? They just keep on creeping. So we got to see where this one goes. We do have Zero from Doom now finding a little bit of attention as the players there from Dagestan come moving in right alongside them, but somehow Zero still manages to stay there, right?
I know,
not yet been spotted. I don't know what's cooking here. This is really odd.
Like, I would like to think of Zero as not being AFK, and his teammates just saying, dude, you gotta move, and Zero's like, nah, hold it. Wait for it. It's not the time
Maybe, you know what, right? This is how you go from 0 to hero. As you can see, a potential angle right there. Meanwhile, the players from Major Pride now doubling down on the aggression as well as they lock in that edge of zone. The blue zone is going to be doing its thing, but the shots are coming through. Oh, there we go. Zero has been found out. A Shockwave come in with that finishing blow. The players here from Backs going to be looking to move up as well. Doom, however, taking a swing over at Cave. All the way on the opposite end there alongside Major Pride.
Yeah, I got to give credit to Dagestan here. They got great positioning here, holding one of the few teams to actually hold a position in the new zone, but also from a position of a little bit of high ground here. If anyone tries to go into that pit, it's almost asking for certain death here. And as you can see, DG working their way right now onto a Bach S member, the one who is in the pit. And I don't know how much time he's got left, if any. It's Sheepa. Okay, he's got him stuck in between a rock and a hard place, all too literally, DK.
Oh, Shifu just mastering the timing on that one. Just absolutely obliterating the players there from Major Pride. Knocking out 2, that is 3. There's 1 more to go. It's now down to Monkey, the final contender left for the side here of Major Pride. And Shifu absolutely on fire because he pre-pod also picking up a quick trade on towards Trazen. And that means that is going to be only 1 player. Terminus, the final remaining hopeful for the side of Shockwave, riding that northern position. But down south, up in Quarry, I mean, it is such a treacherous position to play.
And it looks like Zero from Doom has finally been found out. And, you know, that had to be just a very interesting find for the opponents. I believe it was Dagestan there, just... Hey, you know, we've been here for about 5-10 minutes. Did you guys know that there was a guy 4 feet from us? All right, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a bit of a oof.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said it's a bit of a oof, right? Only noticing that player right alongside you sometimes could, you know, could be a little bit too late. But fortunately for them, it's still a worthwhile investment to make. And speaking about investments, we got so many solos to spread all throughout this map.
Yeah, honestly, this is Dagestan's match to win here. They are the only full 4-piece remaining, and the closest threat that they would have to be from the likes of Brute Force as a 2-person team. But this is where they need to make those numbers work to their advantage. It's in poker, you see it all too often. The big chip stack come in game starts to bully the little chip stacks, and this is, you know, why not? The numbers are in your favor. So this is where I would like to see Dagestan pull out a little bit of aggression here. They've already got 9 kills on the board, though, DK. So the fact that they are not going full-out bloodbath at this stage is not a mistake on their end, necessarily. I think that they've already put themselves in a position where the damage has been done in their favor. So even if they don't just completely annihilate the remainder of the playing board, it's going to be good points for them.
Well, they are going to have a pretty tough time hitting Snowix from Shockwave. Because Snowix... is busy pulling off that hill strat all the way up in Cow. I mean, that is all the way on the opposite end, but they still got a few more meds to go. 18 meds remaining. So I'm curious to see how things are going to go down right here up in towards Quarry, as we are down to our final 2 teams fighting for possession of zone. It is going to be Dagestan and, of course, then the players here from Brute Force. But Mind on the outskirts, and now it all comes down to a hill strat to decide victor.
And honestly, you know, it's not the most chivalrous tactic. It's not the most impressive tactic to watch as a spectator, but to argue and deny the effectiveness of that heal strat is, it almost seems pointless because we've seen it work out time and time again. And here we see Shockwave, a team that has just shown constant improvement today. First match, I believe, was last place. Second match, working their way up to, was it? Well, a lot better placement with a lot of kills on the board. I was going to say 5th place, but now I'm in the back of my head. Part of me is worrying that it might have been a little bit lower. But now, working their way all the way up to 2nd place here. 2 kills to his name, but he's not going to be able to do anything else after this point. Even realistically, the fact that there's just 2 teams left leaves you to wonder why even bother to heal at all. But the deed is done, and this is Dagestan's win, and very, very well deserved.
Yeah, but big ups onto Shockwave there. We know in the past match, they secured themselves that 5th place finish with 6 elims. And this is Snowick's attempt at, seeing that they couldn't find a single elimination. They are going to be playing for those placement points. So it's still a good strategy. I mean, yeah, there might be a few people that disapprove of this, but this has allowed Snowix to outsurvive all the other teams and players aside from Dagestan.
Yeah, that's very true. And in the Bible of Vin Diesel from Fast and the Furious, to quote it, the scripture reads, "It doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning." And Snowix has gathered that second place position, and it doesn't matter how he did it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's game over. And we have just got to give credit here. Sorry about that. Got to give credit to the likes of Dagestan here, putting up a great performance, taking first place with 12 kills. Very nicely done. We got Shockwave. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, DK. You have any thoughts on that?
No, I just wanted to say Shifu coming through with a masterful performance on that one. I mean, a lot of those elims that we see, all out of those 5, a lot of them came at the expense of the players from Major Pride. So, big ups to Shifu for that one. Yeah,
100%. And, anytime you can be that imperative of a difference maker for your team, it is very well appreciated. We got Brute Force showing a lot of improvement here, grabbing 3rd place, and that's going to be with 5 kills. And look at this. All of those 5s came from Prepod here. 4th place, Box eSports, 3 kills. 5th place is going to go to Hate, and that's going to be with 9, 4 of which go to Beast. We've got the likes of MP, that's Major Pride, securing 6th place with 2 kills, both of which go to Dino. De Muerte in 7th with 1 kill, and that 1 kill came from Diana in the in-game. KV Sports, 8th place with 3 kills. Then we got Doom securing 9th place with 1 kill, and that came from Zero. GQ in 10th with 2, 1 from Quasi, AZ, and 1 from Evo Station. Qodex getting put a little bit in their place here on this one. They have been showing so much promise here in the first 2 matches, but in 11th place here in round 3. But let's give them credit where credit is due. To get 7 kills before being eliminated at that stage is pretty impressive as well. We got Madbulls in 12th this time around with 3. KONINA Power, a bit of a rough go today. 13th place with 4 kills, 3 of which came from Fachi. We've got the likes of the NavySeals securing 14th, and that's from 1 kill from Attacker, pardon me. We've got the likes of Virtuspro in 15th, but unfortunately for them, 0 kills to speak of. Nexus grabbing 16th with 3, 2 from Christian, 1 from Octavian. And then lastly, Game Lord having a rough go of it, 17th place with only 1 kill from Robs. Well, DK, my main man, we have seen all the maps that we're going to see, but we're going to be taking it back to the very first ever as we return to conclude the day with round 4 of 4 of the PUBG Mobile LIDOMA EU EMEA event. This is the EU section here. And we'll be back in just a few short moments. And I believe, what we'll do is come back at the 2-minute mark before the match actually starts, just for a little brief summary and analysis to meet you guys halfway. But guys, please do stick around. We'll be back in just a few short moments. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here with the 2-minute mark here on the thing, so we can do a little bit of analysis. But before we do that, let's go over the overall standings as they currently sit. DK, do you mind going over them for me, buddy?
Well, sure. I'll try as best as I can see.
Oh, you can't
here,
see.
so...
I just noticed. Yeah, my apologies, brother. I'll take it back. I just
mean,
realized you couldn't see.
So I can see Qodex, excuse me, sitting up there on 39 points up in pole position with their winner chicken dinner. We got Dagestan then up in second on 33 points. Of course, Nexus Gaming sitting on 25, so 8-point difference between that second and third. But of course, Brute Force hot on their heels, 24 points. But the Madbulls and Cave, I mean, both teams sitting on exactly the same amount of elims, right? Both teams sitting on 20, not elims, rather, on total points, 21 points apiece. Of course, we've got Shockwave, Major Pride, and Hate Gaming hot on their heels. But I think it's the whole situation towards this. Let me turn this way. There we go. And then do that.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got it. We've got it. You know, we'll just lean back a little bit. Game Lord in a very surprising position. Only 3 points to their name.
I'm
not quite sure. I'm not quite sure why there's a 3 there, right? I mean, if they were sitting on the opposite end of the leaderboard, I would understand that. But Game Lord, yeah, I'm not quite sure what's cooking.
Yeah, what it's telling me is that Game Lord is doing a bit more of a hesitant, passive approach here. And, you know, while there are, you know, context-specific times where that's appropriate, it clearly doesn't seem to be the successful strategy for this event. And so I think they're going to definitely need to adjust it moving forward. But as this is match 4, and, you know, the odds of taking that dub home, or at least winning and placing in the overall event and advancing, those odds are out for Game Lord. So at this point, I would think that the name of the game is just to send a message to the playing field here. But you know what I got to say is, who's it going to go to? Because now Dagestan really is the only just significant at your heels threat to Qodex, and excuse me, just 6 points behind, and both already have a dub on the board here. All it's going to take is realistically Qodex having, you know, somewhat of a bad game, or Nexus just really going on a kill-intensive warpath, but somehow doing so and making it to endgame. It's going to take both placement and kills to really come back from that deficit if Qodex does even a reasonably decent performance.
I think Dagestan is going to be quite the force to be reckoned with, especially coming into this final match, right? Sure, not on the first Erangel, they didn't have the craziest run. I mean, the points weren't all that insane coming through from Dagestan. But as they stepped up into Miramar, as they stepped up into Sanhok, that is where things started turning a little bit more in their favor. And I like that kind of build of momentum that they've brought through. But now what we want to see is that continuation. Because, I mean, Qodex, they've been having a glorious run, right? The first time we saw them on Erangel, in fact, we saw Moneycan picking up those 5 elims and the team then being secured up in 5th place. And of course, right out of the gate on Erangel, you know, we see a little bit of that cat and mouse game coming through here as well.
Trying to make a bowling pin out of members of Madbulls and then dropping the effort pretty quickly there. When he probably could have had it, but I think his eyes on the prize. They want to do better than just an easy takedown. They want to get the placement. They want to advance on to the finals. They want a shot at that 700. Ooh, but you know what? Look way up northbound. We've got members of Bach S pretty spread out from one another here, but Zashipa firing away at members of pardon me, Dagestan, the focal point here. All eyes should be on Dagestan at this stage. But here, Bach S Zashipa actually firing away at a member of, is that Doom? Yeah, it's 0. Oh my goodness! The S12! Oh, just life stolen from you in a blink of a second. All the while, Madbulls are still having at it, doing some pretty decent work here on the likes of Major Pride. And now look at this, Major Pride in a bit of a conundrum, as it's all going to be riding on Happy J, who's a ways away from his team and needs to carry on the team name. Let's see, where else should we be tuned into? It looks like elsewhere there is a bit of a spread on the board. What about Nexus up against their opponents here in KONINA? Oh, pardon me, that's Virtuspro, actually.
Yeah. I mean, all Virtuspro needs to do is now they just need to bear with it, right? They need to keep that aggression going, and you know, yeah. Having said all of that, we can see, of course, they're now down to only one remaining hopeful. So things are looking a little bit tough on their end. I'm not quite sure whether or not Grizzly is going to be able to defend this position as they are getting rushed. You see Nexus now looking absolutely relentless. But what a spray though. Grizzly not backing down, but inevitably it all catches up with him.
Bear taken down by a goat. You don't see it very often, but when you do, it's memorable. All right, let's see. Zeri Shea of Madbulls getting... Okay, for a second there, I thought his opponent was in the vehicle with him. It looks like Madbulls going to be pulling a bit of an evacuation away from the remainder of Major Pride. I don't think that has anything to do with Major Pride in particular. Happy J is just a solo after all, so it would be just a numbers game in favor of Madbulls. It would be tough to lose that one, but I think their priority now is positioning, and so they're going to be going and claiming some early real estate at Watertown. Okay, I'm going to get over to the focal point here of the match, which is going to be Dagestan, and Qodex. Now, Qodex, interestingly enough to note, way down south, the only team to land on the military base island, and they find themselves on the edge of zone. So it's a tough go for them because, not really a tough go, it's an interesting option for them because realistically they don't need to move immediately, but the odds of the zone favoring them moving forward, it's going to be a bit slim. So realistically, you would think getting positioning on that northbound island might be a little bit of a higher priority than it is thus far, especially considering that there's just one way in, you know, that you're either swimming or you're bridge crossing. I guess that's two ways. But either way, it leaves you pretty vulnerable from that other end. It just so happens, coincidentally, that their entry in would be unguarded at this stage.
Well, I can see how you're saying that, but I would say for Qodex, this is an absolutely big brain play.
Oh yeah, given their positioning overall, yeah, that's true.
Entirely
I agree. Uncontested. 100%
They have
agree.
a clear rotational pathway into the zone. The only problem is going to come through if someone moves onto that western bridge. And
I see
one
what
of the
you're saying.
first potential teams could be GQ, but I don't know if that is going to be their rotation because they seem to be aiming a little bit more towards center zone. If that is the case,
yeah,
Qodex could have a golden ticket here.
See, I thought you were saying their positioning was actually pretty good just because of, you know, the context of where they are placed overall ranking wise. And, you know, that in that light, I definitely see why they would just kind of want to let these numbers dwindle. And realistically, they've got that 6-point advantage in their favor. So it's not necessarily, we need to go out all kill intensive. They want to make sure that they acquire that in-game placement. And so I think they do have the right of it. And I do withdraw my previous statement. I think you're right about their positioning given their overall placement.
Unless Havlik throws themselves off of a height, as we just saw. But it's two different approaches coming through. Qodex taking a little bit more of a passive approach, a little bit more of a calculated play. And if we look at Dagestan, they're just going on the full-on aggression, right? I mean, yes, Adira has already found that first Elam, but that is just a little bit of a taste of what is yet to come. And I'm curious to see how Dagestan is actually going to be looking to pull through this performance because they've got that position just towards their north, in which we see the players there from Bax eSports, but the Madbulls also then sharing the area with them. So they need to be very calculated. And speaking about calculated, Hate, I mean, they just coming in swinging right here, just popping off those hits and, you know, laying waste to KONINA Power.
Yeah, well, it's going to be an interesting situation. It leaves him in a 2v3 scenario, and no, she's just wrecking into him. AK-47 in hand and taking Sangori right out of the equation, and it's going to be a quick thirst to follow, as to be expected at that point. I do have to just briefly here switch my attention over to KONINA Power here. They're down, as I said, to a 3-piece, but look, someone has strayed from the path, so to speak, and it's going to be Palucci pulling a wide flank around Hate, but they are all too aware of his flank. But this is where that geographical... this is where the geographical advantage is in his favor. That little bit of hill is just giving him all the cover he needs, just providing just a sliver of a peeking on Hate, and I don't think that they're going to be able to get him.
Yeah, but Qodex also now running into problems as they've started to rotate up from that southern island, and that is exactly where GQ has gone. They've pulled into that western bridge and putting up quite a bit of an opposition, as we can see. Those heads just doubling on down. Havlik has gone down, Purple has gone down, and it is now down to Aya and Off Haze to bring in those remaining performances. So, I mean, a big strategy coming through there from GQ. If they hadn't moved onto that bridge, that could have opened the opportunity for Qodex to sneak into zone.
100%. And honestly, if you're Dagestan, I hope you're keeping a very close watch on that kill feed, because if you are and come to the awareness that Qodex is down to just half of their team, this is really where Dagestan can just take full advantage, really capitalize, because now they know they have the number advantage. All they need is that placement at this point. Maybe a couple kills. They've got 2 on the board. But the odds of Qodex being very kill-intensive from this point forward are going to be a lot slimmer. So the odds here for Dagestan, it's looking a lot more promising.
Yeah, but this way Dagestan needs to be super cautious, because Madbulls could be luring them into the trap. Yes, we did just see that knock come through onto Wazeric, with Zadira being right there to close that one up. But, I mean, Madbulls even dropping down to 2 or 3 players, that is not going to deter them from coming back with a vengeance. So Dagestan need to be super cautious as to how they approach this play.
And just a brief recap, Madbulls currently in 5th place with 21 points, which puts them literally only 4 points behind 3rd place, ladies and gentlemen. And just so you guys are getting the idea of it, 3rd place is a $100 payout, whereas 5th place is a $50 payout. So they'd literally be doubling their profits there. Zadira firing away 3x M4 at the likes of the Madbulls as Shifu pushes up even closer with a utility in hand, trying to make it rain hellfire here on his opponents.
Ooh. Hellfire definitely raining on down, as you can see here, but up in the feed also then we have Brute Force Shockwave going at it. Let's see whether or not Madbulls can push it all the way in. It is Flyke picking up a beautiful knock. So that is 1 down. And a few more to go. Not all hope is lost, but it does look pretty grim for the players there from Shockwave, as they've now been reduced down to only 1 remaining hopeful. But here we go. It is going to be the Madbulls pushing on forward. Down on 2. It is Frozen. It is Flyke. Oh, Dagestan. They just need to keep their eyes on the prize. And a great volley getting sent in the window.
Shifu is just coming in clutch so frequently today. And great performance on the end of DG here. Dagestan really showing a lot of confidence here in this final game. And usually, you know, this can kind of be a coin flip to see how teams play in this final match. A lot of times, all too often, you can see the pressure just build up and make players a little bit too hesitant to give up, you know, their safety for an early on CQC, close quarter confrontation. But Dagestan knows it's all riding here, and Qodex knows how to get placement. They're all too aware of Codex's ability to get that placement, so it's really going to probably come down to kills in their eyes. Now, whether or not they know about the current nature of Qodex being just a 2-person team, that's yet to be seen. What just happened?
Ooh, that was Dagestan getting a little bit confident, moving up. Fortunately, they were able to find Frozen, and with that, they do lock in 5 eliminations, but that was a super, super risky performance coming through from Dagestan.
What a statement. With everything riding on the line, if they had lost that confrontation, it would have meant losing that 1st place finish here. And goodness knows that to run in there with a pan up against an automatic weapon at that close proximity, that is just asking for it. So I feel like they were just trying to make a point and let everyone know just how confident they are here.
Yeah, speaking about confidence, we did see pre-pod there from Brute Force coming in with a finishing hit on towards Fashe. Not before Fashe picked up 2 of their players. Beautiful DBS, but that is going to be Polucci down and out. But now, Brute Force coming under fire as well, as the players here from Cave rather, move in behind them. It's going to be Creepy and the rest of the team focusing all their efforts in. You can see those shots connecting up onto the vehicle. They're going to try and escape. They are going to get spotted out and mined. Could find themselves in a bit of a blender.
Yeah, only time's going to tell for them, but What else in the meantime should we be tuning into? Here we go. Qodex up against the likes of Hate.
I mean, that's a tough play. That is a super tough play, but it doesn't seem like Qodex are going to be looking to strike just yet, right? They want to play this one as calculated as they can, seeing that they've been reduced down to only 2. But Hate, I mean, they've got their focus set on positioning, and now that they've got themselves situated closer towards zone, potentially gatekeeping Qodex, this is where the tables could start to turn.
Yeah, and this is going to be the moment of truth. Everything riding on this in a situation where they are outnumbered and outgunned and separated from one another. Honestly, given the nature of where they are in placement, and given that this is the last zone, I still agree with their split. I think that they're not putting all their eggs in that one basket. Oh, GOAT, the final hope here being wrecked apart by the remnants of the NavySeals, and the Seals have struck. Where, oh where, we got to go back down to Qodex. We just don't have a choice. Even though it looks like the altercation is being avoided, in the case that it ends up amounting to something, I don't want to miss it. But yes, it does look like Hate is going to bow out. And realistically, I don't blame them for it because they have little to gain from taking Qodex out and changing the winner from Qodex to Dagestan. They don't really gain much from that given their positioning. So I understand. Brute force being pushed on here as we speak by De Muerte. Oh.
I mean, there's the opportunity is still right at this point in time. You can see those trades coming through as brute force move on in. It is going to be De Muerte now facing quite a few casualties. We actually had Happy pull into Qodex as well. So things are getting a little bit spicy, but De Muerte trying to pick up those last few plays on the edge of zone as we now jump back over on towards Qodex.
I'm going to go back up before you can say anything.
With Major Pride, down they go. Oh, but there we go as De Muerte now lose all their players, and that is the end of the road. De Muerte now staying true to their name. I mean, that was the end.
Well, no time to
Spanish. It means something slightly different, but of course, it means the same thing. Ooh.
Oh, Dagestan is in the thick of it here. It's going to be a 2v3 scenario. And as we mentioned, Dagestan with everything to gain and everything to lose here. It's going to be interesting to see how they pull this off. Oh, no! Oh, I thought that he naded himself, but goodness knows. Limbo, Boom, and Matrix. 2 nades, one for the knock and one for the thirst. Adding insult to injury via the utilities.
I mean, that's a good play. Now all that Dagestan has to do is just deal with this one final remaining hopeful coming through from the NavySeals. Yep, and that is their fate sealed as the shot connects on through. Dagestan has full possession of the eastern side of zone, and now they can casually rotate on through. Meanwhile, it is going to be Cave and GQ pulling up much closer to each other with the Hate also hanging around in the vicinity. We can see Hate now starting to pull up, heading in the direction, looking for a bit of a play to make at that fuel station. I think that could be a little bit of a bold move, especially with that warehouse just ahead of them.
Yeah. One moment here. Okay, just keeping a conversation here with staff just to make sure I'm up to date on everything. And here we see Creepy with a nice little positioning here, a little bit of high ground advantage over his opponents in GQ, and it comes down to that standoff of what is more advantageous in this position, the geographical higher ground or the compound cover low ground. I think it's a bit of a trade, but I think Creepy would have had the advantage here were it not for the likes of Hate coming up here with Mika MVP here being in such close proximity. It's gonna hit, isn't gonna hit. Oh, taking him down to half health. Creepy going prone, being full-on grass snake right here. And boy, Noshi is about to feel it. Yes, sir. He does right away. AK-47 getting the knock. And he is now one of 2 hopes remaining for Cave eSports.
Well, let's see where this one goes. Cave trying to hold on. I mean, Hate stepping up so aggressively. But GQ going to be coming in for their share of the pie as well. And this the one-on-one squad situation now developing into a potential triangle. of despair. So let's see where this one goes. You can see Cave not looking to great influence. Now trying to just put a little bit of distance between themselves and that altercation. But this now opens up the floodgates for GQ and Hate to go full force.
Yeah. And this really should be an all-out bloodbath here. A 4v... Oh, I take it back. A 4v3. GQ has a member off on the side. A 3-1 split in this situation could be huge. And by that, ladies and gentlemen, I mean that GQ has an opportunity to get a fourth angle that was not expected at all. However, it looks like, yeah, Hate is, they're just a solitary unit here. This is where I want to see GQ make good use of their placement.
Qodex has bid their farewells as they get sent on their merry way. Meanwhile, GQ going to be riding it out the zone. In the meantime, has shifted up into the northeastern side, moving up quite favorably here for Dagestan. So the pressure is on. Dagestan now needs to just survive and finish well within that potential top 3. But of course, first up, it has to be someone else to go, right? Is it going to be Hate? Is it going to be GQ? We are going to be finding out very, very soon. As well, Hate now down to their final hopeful. It's going to be Beast down the defensive. Oh
my goodness. A little too committed to that utility. And it does get the knock, but just it took so long for him to cook it that, yeah, ultimately he got the knock, but he was already dead before he could secure a thirst. I think that was just a little too pot committed to being fancy. But guys, either way, any way you look at it, we're down to our final 4 teams. It's GQ, DG, of course, Dagestan, Brute Force, and Cave. And honestly, if you're Dagestan, the placement's in your favor, the points are in your favor, and with Qodex being out already, I didn't see how many kills they put on the board, but I think they have a very, very good chance here of taking home the gold medal overall.
Yep, the opportunity definitely is available to them. I mean, Qodex only having 1 elimination, and that was thanks to our haze. But that's just done. All they got to do is just ride the storm as best they can. I mean, they're already sitting on a very impressive 12 eliminations to their name. But now the opportunity is there. Survive what this lobby is going to be bringing in. And of course, well, what better way than to do it with the mine now getting hit on the edge of that zone. The final contender left for the side here, Brute Force.
He's out of his mind. He's out of his zone. And boy, oh boy, with nothing but a couple meds and open ground to separate him from his opponents in Dagestan, it's looking pretty grim. Getting what cover he can, it's all too little too late as he is eliminated. Guys, we are down to our final 3 teams. It's a 4v3v1. GQ, DG, and Cave. Let's get it.
Well, Influence going to be keeping it nice and quiet. So we do have a 3v4 coming through between GQ and Dagestan. But what we've seen so far from Dagestan is they're not going to shy away from the aggression. I mean, they dropped in a very aggressive position right out of the gate, moving into this final match. And now they might look to continue on with that trend because he keep on that far edge. Sadira, Limbo Boom right on the front line. So this is where they're going to be looking to capitalize on the cover that those trees are providing, right? They have a beautiful line of sight right down into that open field. And this is where things now start to take a turn for the worst coming through for Team GQ.
Yeah, and the odds have been evened into a 3v3 scenario. As Quasi has been eliminated, this is going to be a tough one. Korka really putting a lot of risk here on himself. Unnecessary risk, if I may say so. Just chilling in a smoking vehicle in an open field in a final in-game here. This is surprising. And to say aggressive is... I don't know if you call it aggressive if he's not pushing, but it's questionable. It's definitely questionable. But boy, if you are Influence of Cave Esports, you're getting lucky because these 2 teams are just focusing in on one another hard.
Yeah, this is the opportunity now for Evo Station and Korka to advance the zone. Not taking an overly aggressive play just yet, but there's going to be a Limbo Boom now moving over towards Tofi to get the confirmation. Evo Station going to be pushing in that direction. As you can see, Influence not going to be succumbing to the pressure, instead just keeping it nice and quiet on the edge here. And that is going to be the end as Cave actually now strikes on towards Limbo, picking up a little bit of a cheeky trade on that one. And again, just evening out the battlefield, right? Dagestan down to 2, GQ down to 2, with Cave also still hanging on with the slither.
And he's got no focus on him. He was able to get the takedown and work his way into the edge of zone. I mean, honestly, this is pure coincidence, but it could not have played out any more advantageous for Influence here. He is just getting lucky as heck. But here we still have it, guys, a 2v2v1. The odds have been evened, and GQ now potentially with the ability to take Dagestan out of the equation here, at least in terms of sending the message of not letting him have too many dubs. But as I say, it's Zadira with a monster utility, raining hellfire on Evo Station. A quick push, a quick thirst, and it's going to leave it all riding on Korka for GQ.
Yeah, I mean, this is not what GQ wanted, but it is looking absolutely amazing for the side here of Dagestan. I mean, they've got the eliminations, they've got the whole performance, they've got 15 eliminations to their name. 6 of those coming from Zadira alone. And now Korka having to try and piece back this whole performance here. Korka already picking up 3 elims. GQ sitting on 8 rather. Well, I don't know what Tate is, but 8 definitely in total. But let's see how this one is going to unravel as, I mean, everyone for the time being at least being situated within zone. I think this next shift,
No.
is going to be the one. And now it is Influence left to go up against the 2 remaining hopefuls there from Dagestan.
Honestly, Influence could not have exercised self-restraint in a more professional fashion than he did. Working his way up as a solo at this stage, all the way up to second place. I know Creepy was around fairly recently, but at this stage, it was all riding on Influence to carry on the team name, and boy, did he ever. And he definitely had temptation thrown at him, as we had Dagestan members maybe 10 feet in front of him going to secure a thirst, and it would have just been easy to wreck into their opponents, but self-restraint was perfect, and he did end up striking and getting a takedown on one of them a little bit shortly after, but if he had done so just a few moments earlier, he would have doubtlessly been picked apart. So the fact that he's already acquired second place, and honestly, DK, I think you can agree with me here, a 1v2, I mean, that's very possible.
Yep, that is definitely very, very possible, but oh, Dagestan, they've got their eyes set on target, and with that, they secure themselves the winner chicken dinner. I think it is very safe to say that Dagestan just had an absolutely phenomenal performance coming through. I mean, Zadira picking up those 8 elims, that just looked absolutely fantastic alongside all the others the rest of the squad brought in.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pull up their results from the previous 3 matches, but just so everyone gets a little bit closer of an idea, Dagestan getting, let's see, they placed in, not in the top 3 in round 1 or 2 here, but getting that, pardon me, hold on, Cave first place round 1, Qodex first place round 2, Dagestan first place round 3. Now this is where it comes. That means back-to-back dubs here on top of already holding that advantage in their favor. It's just adding insult to injury for the playing field. You can argue that luck is an equation if, you know, they get 1 good match, maybe 2 good matches, but to have enter the last match already with a clear lead and then dominate the playing field in this way, and I mean dominate, that is 17 kills on the board. It is, the results are without question. You can't debate them. This is a very well-deserved win for them. As Dagestan takes first place, ladies and gentlemen, 17 kills. Almost half of those kills going to Zadira alone. Another great performance by Cave, too. You know, Cave got first place in round 1, now getting a second place here in round 4. Not many kills on the board, but Influence really keeping the team name alive and securing that placement for him, really prioritizing the marathon over the sprint method here, getting second place with 2 kills, both of which go to Influence. Third place going to the likes of GQ, and that's going to be, of course, with 6 kills. We got Brute Force in 4th place, but boy, Brute Force was sure exercised by 4YDO, responsible for 7 of the team's 11 kills. 11 kills between 2 players, not bad. We got Hate coming in 5th, and Noshi responsible for both of those kills. Qodex, this is the factor worth noting. Qodex, really, they had all all of everything in their favor. You know, the win was within their grip, holding that first place position with 6 points, I believe, above DG as they entered this match. And unfortunately, even if they had that 6th place finish, if they were relatively kill intensive, I think it would have put it up into a close running potentially. But the fact that they were only able to put 1 kill on the board and not a lot in terms of placement points, I think, you know, it's going to be a clear slide over to Dagestan. But
not only that, but we also see that strong performance coming through from Brute Force. So don't forget, Brute Force was sitting in 4th place with 24 points, so only 15 points behind the side of Qodex, as we can see coming into this match, right? That means they were trailing by 9 points behind Dagestan. So even though they had a 4th place finish, 11 eliminations to their name could have been sufficient to change up our 1st and 2nd place finishes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let me try to think about the scoring. I think it's like 16 or 17 points worth. But yeah, we will be back in just a few short moments with the final results to clarify and put an end to the speculation. But time will tell. So stick around with us, guys. We got Bach S in 7th place, 0 kills for them this time around, unfortunately. 8th place is going to go to the NavySeals, and that's going to be with 6 kills between Trix and Access Soon. We got De Muerte in 9th this go around, and that's going to be with 1 kill coming from Malloy. MP, Major Pride, in 10th place. Unfortunately for them, 0 kills to speak of. Nexus going to be securing 11th place with 5 kills on the board. An all-around tough day for KONINA Power, and just not really very lucky in terms of finding their footing and finding their comfort zone, finding that momentum. 12th place finish with 2 kills, 1 from Fachi and 1 from Obeldoy. We got the Madbulls in 13th, 3 kills total. Shockwave, just again, not their day, but DK, you and I have seen Shockwave on time and time again, numerous occasions, and we've seen what they can do. So while it might not have been their day today, they still have my full respect. Big shout out to Snowix. We got Doom securing 15th, 1 kill to their name, and once again, that 1 kill does come from 0. And last place this time around, 16th is going to go to Virtuspro. And what bear got the kill? It was the Grizzly this time around. Well, DK, my main man, what are your overall take-home thoughts on this event today?
Well, I definitely think that we've just witnessed a beautiful comeback coming through there from Dagestan, just solidifying themselves exceptionally well on the overall rankings. The same can be said for the players coming through there from Brute Force, because as we know, a little bit of Brute Force never hurt nobody, especially applicable in PUBG only, please. But yeah, overall, I think it was a really great performance coming through from the teams, and it's nice to see teams just just flexing on those skills every now and then, right? Just reminding everybody that they are a team to watch. And I think moving into the 2023 season, right, looking at all the different community events we have, what the teams are doing, I think once we get into our respective PMPLs, it's going to be a very, very exciting season.
Yeah, I think if match 1 of today was to be like a metaphor for 2023, I think it means that we could be due for an elevated level of gameplay this year. I mean, keep in mind, PUBG Mobile has now entered almost 5 years running now. So you have to think about this. The eSports scene in PUBG Mobile, when it came about in the 2018, 2019 time, yeah, it was a very elevated level of gameplay. You had a ton of high-performing teams, but at the same time, the level of professionalism and gameplay then was nowhere near what it is today. We've had 4 more additional years worth of practice at this point. And so, yeah, you're gonna see a lot more utility intensive, tactical implementations, just a ton of sweatiness. If you were sweating before, you can just say that the thermostat got turned up another 50 degrees for 2023. And I am looking forward to it, brother. I think we're going to be due for a lot of great content, and I'm curious to see, what is going to be the reputation of Europe after it's all said and done. What about, Turkey? What about MENA? What about NA? I honestly, I think that there's going to be a lot of ground to cover to kind of make up from the impressions left in 2022. but only time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not done with you just yet. We're going to be back at you in just a few short moments with the overall standings and the final placements of this event. Stick around. This is the LIDOMA PUBG Mobile Invitational EMEA event. Be back soon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking around. I am sorry about that lengthy 9-second intermission. But, you know, as it stands, those results are already here and on the table. So let me get these up on the screen for us. And as it currently stands, let me just go ahead and put it on the actual screen. So, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Dagestan, what a take home. This is not even a close call. That gold medal is 18 points of slack secured. First place, 60 points, 2 dubs out of 4 matches. They literally won half of the matches that they played today. Great work on their end. Let me go ahead and turn this music down just a smidge here. And as you'll note, guys, let's give a little bit of credit to Qodex as well. You know, 42 points is nothing to wag your finger at. But brute force, DK, as you were saying, you know, way to leave that lasting taste in everyone else's mouth. Say, hey, we're not giving up. We're gonna show you guys just how we got here, and we're gonna place in that top 3 come that last match, showing a lot of improvement. I love it. Nexus, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, just saying, no, I agree with what you said there. I mean, brute force really doubling down, just missing it by 3 points, that second place finish. But it's quite impressive to look at the performance coming through from Dagestan, right? I mean, they got 36 eliminations. That is double the amount of placement points that Qodex has had, and their placement is the equivalent, Qodex and excuse me's, eliminations in total. So, an super aggressive performance coming through there from Dagestan, and you got to commend it. It has been an absolutely phenomenal performance. But also Cave, they've been slowly but steadily just kind of building on that consistency, inching their way closer and closer. I mean, as you've mentioned, they've already they were rather able to secure themselves that winner chicken dinner right in the very first game.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cave, you know, if we are to sort of come at this from an analysis perspective, what they're telling me from this overall standings here is that they are a fairly well-rounded team here. Now, what I am seeing is with only 12 kills on the board spread out across 4 matches, that's 3 kills on average per game on 4-person teams. That's not very impressive in terms of kills. So this tells me that they are playing things from a more reserved standpoint and really kind of finding their footing and placement through their placement points overall. That's great. That is great. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you do get to this high tier 1 pro level, you're going to find time and time again that it might not be quite enough. So what I would say moving forward is that Cave works on just kind of that spontaneous, in the moment, aggressive pushes. You know, you get that knock, you push it before any revives happen. You know, just acting in the moment, because those brief moments of hesitation could have been what separated KV eSports from, you know, the Nexus Gaming, that one little point, or even as much as 10 points between them and brute force. Honestly, I think that they definitely left a strong overall impression, but definitely there's room for improvement moving forward. Now, let's take that and analyze that next to a team like Madbulls. You know, Madbulls putting up 19 kills. That's 7 more kills than Cave. But if you look at their placement, you can see that they are the other side of the coin from Cave eSports. Cave being the more placement-oriented, and Madbulls being a little bit more aggressive, kill-oriented in terms of how they acquire their overall points. So for both of these teams, I'd say the advice moving forward is to try to find a more equal balance between the placement and aggression. I think both these teams showing a lot of promise. lot of room for improvement still on the board. And you know what? This is, tough to see it for GQ, literally tying in terms of points with Madbulls at 24. But, three kills behind and 3 placement points ahead. I don't know what you say about that. That's essentially, that's dead even, but Hate Gaming, 8th place. They got 20 points on the board. And look at this Shockwave. I mean, I know this isn't a great placement by any means, but for some reason, I didn't think that Shockwave had made it all the way up to that sort of placement. I'd seen them sort of riding that middle ground, but not very kill intensive. So I figured they were going to be lower placed, but good on them. A lot of room for improvement, but I know we've seen them at their best. We've seen them at their worst. It's just going to be finding that footing moving forward into 2023. We got Major Pride and NavySeals tied here at 15 points each, but I think the kills go to the NavySeals, the placement going to Major Pride. And it's sort of, I mean, honestly, like I would say the advice that I gave to Madbulls and Cave, if you were to like zoom out and say on a much smaller scale, that same concept could be applied to Major Pride and NavySeals, at least for accentuating the difference between those two teams. I don't think that they really need to do too much in terms of adjusting their balance. I think they do need to find a way to put themselves as a more recurrent presence in these matches, meaning need to find themselves in a little bit more confrontation when they can. I think, go ahead.
This is where I would potentially maybe disagree with you, because also take into consideration the point structure has changed, right?
Oh, that's right.
Right? So, 1, it's a new change. 2, the teams are still trying to adapt to this new shift in the meta, right? Yeah. So, a lot of the performance that we are seeing here is partially based on the previous point system, right? Where teams had the ability to not be too concerned about eliminations, obviously taking the opportunities where they got them, but there was a little bit of less of an emphasis placed on trying to secure those placements. So this is where I would commend a team like Cave, still being able to secure 17 placement points, right? Where you only get placement points if you place in the top 9, right? Anywhere from 9th downwards, top 8 rather. If you place anywhere from 9th downwards, that's not worth a single point. All you get is your elimination. So still being able to be the 3rd highest team with regards to placement points. I mean, that's hella impressive, right? So yeah. It means that they've now been able to find that consistency to get themselves into those later stages. Now that opens up the opportunity for them to try and focus a little bit more on then, lining up those eliminations. Whereas we see other teams that have been able to secure quite a few eliminations, but very little placement points. This is where I would, maybe keep that aggression, but now find a way to incorporate that with good rotations, good positioning, and playing a little bit more into those later stages.
Yeah, and honestly, for a team like if you're Game Lord or Virtuspro, even Doom in a situation like this, I'd say, realistically, the name of the game for the bottom placing, maybe even bottom placing 4 teams, it's going to need to be about building synergy, DK. It seems that there just is a bit of hesitation, a bit of conservation in terms of making the necessary moves happen, making those pushes when they need to happen, securing placement when it needs to happen. And maybe even that boils down to your tactics in terms of the splits. Maybe a 3-1 split is advantageous. I would argue that if you are on the lower end of the placement board here, maybe those splits aren't the move for now. Maybe work as a solitary unit moving forward and seeing if you can build some just a little bit of momentum there. And I think those splits work well most effectively when it's in a situation of confidence, when you have that momentum already in your favor. So I think it's really going to be about building synergy for teams like Gamelord, Virtuspro, and Doom moving forward. But as you said, DK, this is just the very tip of the iceberg. We are just getting to the icing on the cake for 2023. And so these teams are going to become all too familiar. If they weren't completely familiar with each other's play styles beforehand, these teams are going to see a lot more of each other as we move forward to 2023.
Yeah, but the change also comes through is I'm not too critical on the performances that we've seen come through from these teams, right? Because the previous scoring that we had was in place for about what, I think 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the teams over that time span have gotten themselves accustomed to that kind of meta, right? The kind of play style to utilize that. We are really fresh. I mean, we are weeks, if not days, into the new point system, right? The teams have not really had the opportunity. We've not seen it in PMGC. Yes, we saw it somewhat come through in the championships. The point system was, of course, applicable over on Livic, but that only happened once a week on one single match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, as the teams are getting a little bit more of a taste of this new point system and the required change in the dynamic to keep up with that, I think it's just about finding that new rhythm, right? Because a team like Gamelord, a team like Doom, the Muerte, the Sirens, they have that team synergy, right? They've been playing together for quite some time. I think it's now just finding that extra little bit of a shift, that new change in the dynamic to find what works best for the team moving through into the 2023 changes.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I also say, when I say synergy, I mean in terms of momentum and confidence that comes along with acquired synergy. And yes, you know, you're right. They've played with each other for a long time, but as you noted, with the point structure changing in such a way that it's going to literally affect everyone else's tactical approach, I'd say a lot of that synergy has kind of taken a step back, and now you're going to have to find a way to synergize into this new method here, this new point scoring method. And so, yeah, 100%. I think the fact that you accentuate that this new point system is a factor is a huge point worth noting. And that doubtlessly has a lot to do with the way the teams played here today, as they just sort of dip their toes in the water and try to find their footing into how things are going to be in the PUBG Mobile esports scene moving forward. But ladies and gentlemen, this has just been an absolute blast getting to cast the LIDOMA PUBG Mobile MEA Invitationals with you. If you guys aren't already following DKZA Gaming, it's DKZA_gaming, correct? Or is it DKZA space gaming? On YouTube.
Underscore.
Okay,
yeah.
so DKZA.
No, so on YouTube it's just DK Gamecast. That's the easiest way to find me. Yes.
Okay, so DK Gamecast, and I'm RedEyes_official. And guys, if you are not following LIDOMA, you are absolutely missing out on some of the best PUBG Mobile esports available to the community. So absolutely follow them on all their socials, join their Discord server, and become a part of this action. A lot of opportunities in esports potential here as we move forward into 2023, and we love to see you be a part of it. Well, with that being said, I don't want to waste too much more of y'all's time. This has just been a great time getting to cast these for you guys today. This is DKZA. I'm RedEyes, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.